It's a poison. That doesn't help the stress level. No, don't do it. Get a grip. This stupid video I just showed you. I almost stroked out and died over it. You're watching a different show. You donkey. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. We are here. We're here. We're not going anywhere. It's Notre Dame against everyone to an extent we've never seen before. To an extent we've never seen before. You've always understood the concept as a Notre Dame person that it's Notre Dame versus everybody. You're independent. Everybody's going to hate you. To some extent, it's always been Notre Dame against everyone. This entire experience and journey the last few days should be eye-opening to everyone. The extent to which it's Notre Dame versus the world has been exposed. And I don't think everyone in Notre Dame land was fully aware of the extent to which it was Notre Dame against the world. If you want to take one positive from this nightmare news PR cycle the last handful of days, I've been really digging deep. Here's a positive in this. Now you know exactly what you're dealing with. Now you know. There is no more like we're kind of playing nice together and whatever. And like, yeah, we know you're kind of against us, but like we kind of make money together when we're in the playoff or through the ACC agreement and with different media outlets. There's a benefit in knowing exactly what you're up against and to what level. And I think this whole experience the last few days has been eye-opening because you always knew it was Notre Dame against everybody. You always knew it was Notre Dame against everybody. Now you know the extent of what you're dealing with, and it needs to change the calculus of how Notre Dame operates moving forward. I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen anything like this. This changes things. And it needs to change how Notre Dame operates, how Notre Dame maneuvers, how Notre Dame plays ball, so to speak, with these different entities. And so it is, we are in uncharted waters. We're in uncharted waters. This is, this is at a different level. And we need to get into this and where it needs to go. And we're going to talk about, I would love to know your opinion on Pete's presser. I would love your opinion on how you want Notre Dame to move forward. What can Notre Dame do to not be in this position again? And there's not a lot of easy solutions to a lot of this stuff other than just join a conference. Like we need to understand Notre Dame chooses this life. Notre Dame chooses this life. Like you're not an innocent victim in all this where it's like you're in a conference, you're doing like everybody else and you're getting singled out. All of this is with an understanding Notre Dame's chosen this life. But if you're going to choose this life, you need to make sure you do it smartly and wisely and always watch your back. I think that's a big lesson in all this. You cannot trust anyone. It is Notre Dame against the world. And that includes everyone outside of the Notre Dame circle. And Notre Dame needs to have that in mind moving forward. That is one lesson that I've learned from this is Notre Dame needs to change their posture with how they navigate everything. That is a requirement to existentially exist the way you want to exist. Notre Dame's got to recalculate its posture to everything in how they deal with everything. It all needs to be changed. This is a big deal. It changes things. Okay. And so I would love to know where you guys are at with all of this stuff. I'm uncharted waters. That is the phrase that's coming into my head. Okay. I've never seen anything like it. And so it's easy to say Notre Dame versus the world. Like that has historically been the case. This is on a different level. And I need Notre Dame to wake up to these realities and navigate things differently. Okay. So welcome in. Thanks for being here. We're not going anywhere, man. We're not going anywhere. Now is not the time to like get beaten down and go curl up in a ball till football starts again. Like we're not going anywhere. So thank you guys for being here. Thanks for sticking it out. This has been an unprecedented run of negativity on a different level. Yeah, Pat says the Big 12 commissioner came out yesterday and dumped on Notre Dame. And then the next tweet I see is Notre Dame in discussions with the Big 12 to join them. Literally, I've been seeing those tweets. People are sending to me, John, Notre Dame's going to the Big 12. I already see the rumor. It's in the works. Well, that's interesting because I see their commissioner crapping on Notre Dame. So, okay. So thank you guys for being here. I have a couple bullet points I need to get off my chest, and then I will hand it over to you guys. The haters are going to hate. This is at a different level, though. This is different. This is not typical Notre Dame hate. This is different, and we're going to get into it. So thank you for being here. We're not going anywhere. I'm going to be here, and I'm never going away. We're doing the Patreon, and it's content galore, and we're never going away. So hate it or love it, I'm not going anywhere. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. Notifications on. You don't miss nothing. Twitter. All the Notre Dame haters, they know how to find me on Twitter. Search bar Always Irish. Rat Always Irish 8. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only. Anywhere you want it, you could get it. Notre Dame on SI. Articles for you every single day. There's plenty of things to write about. I often say writing challenges a different part of my mind. If you want to see that part, just type in Sports Illustrated Notre Dame John Kennedy. I'll come right up. Read all about it. Patreon.com/alwaysirish. Great team over there. Great community. Everybody over there, we're pulling from the same end of the rope, and I appreciate it. We need to stick together more than ever. We are all we have. Understand that. In my opinion, we are all we have. And that we're all we got, you guys. We are all we have. Understand that. Lean into that. Okay. This is tough. Okay. Let me get through what I want to say. I have a few bullet points, and I actually did an actual outline for this because this is an important one to me. And I want to go over that. We'll do your chats, and then I'll hand it over to you guys. Okay. So we're in uncharted waters on multiple levels. Proper Notre Dame leadership is needed now more than ever. Notre Dame must be smart. They must speak smart, and they must act smartly. Okay? Notre Dame leadership is needed here in a big, big way. Okay? I've never seen anything like what's going on right now. Notre Dame is getting ripped literally by every single entity that there is. Coast to coast, every outlet, every social media, every TV channel. Notre Dame is getting ripped from coast to coast. Social media, articles, podcasts, other coaches, ADs, conference commissioners, TV, radio, from every corner you could imagine. It is an onslaught on Notre Dame the last few days. You could argue whether that's fair or not, right or not, but that is the fact of what's going on. Okay, read the room. Notre Dame is losing the national PR battle, being attacked by all sides. That is not in debate. You are losing this PR battle. Okay? And that could be justified. Like, that's up for opinion, whether that's right or wrong. I'm just talking about the fact. Know what you're up against. And it is everyone from every conceivable angle and outlet. You need to know and understand that. You're losing the PR war. Okay? Now, the question in this is, what does Notre Dame do? The fans or whatever can sit there and fight people on Twitter or whatever. The real question in this is, what does Notre Dame do? Not like, what is Notre Dame's response to this? Okay. Now I'm going to say this. I was heated yesterday. I am very open to the idea that Pete Bavacqua was playing games in his presser, saying nothing intentionally or being careful and like dancing around stuff, like whatever. Hopefully, Pete is working on some things behind the scenes. And if he is doing that, and you get actual change, either to the CFP thing because Notre Dame pushes it, or your relationship with the ACC, you find a different home and we ditch them. Like whatever it may be. If the thing yesterday was all an angle to allow him to maneuver behind the scenes, but make it look like everything's kind of like okay or status quo is going to hold or whatever, that is totally fine. I will be the first one to applaud his slick moves. Okay? So if that's what that was, and there are a lot of things going on behind the scenes, and yesterday was just kind of like he wanted to meet with the media, not give him much, but there's a lot of action going on. When I get the action, I will come right on here and go, great job then. I guess you fooled everybody. You had me yelling, and it ended up you were working on a big move. I want to be able to come on here and say, good job, man. Like you really did. You played it cool and you held your cards, and then you did a big move that helps Notre Dame and shows that we are still in charge of our own destiny, right? So if they do that, then I'm all for it. Okay. But you are not. I just hope Notre Dame's leadership understand. I hope they're fully reading the room. You are losing the PR battle across America on multiple fronts. Okay. And so I need Notre Dame leadership to have a plan here. So if that was what Pete was doing and he's playing it low, but a bunch of moves are happening behind the scenes and we find out what they are, fine. But I was looking for a little something different yesterday from Pete after all the tough talking and then calling a presser. I was looking for a different posture from Pete than what we got. If you saw it differently, God bless you. Have your opinion. And if you don't like mine, I don't care. Start your own show and tell people what you think. I don't give a shit right now. Okay? You don't like what I say? Don't watch. Start your own channel. Say whatever you want. The reality is you went from the third best title odds, a top 3 recruiting class, and in 2 hours, the season's over. You're getting ripped coast to coast by everybody, and your coach was the favorite to land the Giants job. This is bad, and there's no sugarcoating it. Notre Dame's in the deep shit. I hope leadership realizes the severity of what's going on. This is different. This is not typical Notre Dame hatred. What's going on now is different. Okay? I need Notre Dame leadership to make moves, not say words. I need action. So what can Notre Dame do? What can Notre Dame do? Okay? Like, it's one thing for everybody to feel down and fight the trolls on Twitter and all that stuff, right? Like that's one thing. Once all the bitching's over, what can Notre Dame do here about this? I see the trolls. Come on in. You're welcome. Thanks for the view. Come on in. This is how this goes, you guys. When Notre Dame's making a playoff run last year and we're all in a good mood, everything's great, we're here. And when things are terrible, I'm here too. Give it to me, trolls. Give it to me. Bring it. I'm not going anywhere. Bring this shit. What can Notre Dame do? Number one is, I think it would have been nice if Pete said yesterday, I'm on the board that decides what's going on with this CFP and all these meetings every summer. And I am going to march in there with a list of changes that will not only help Notre Dame, but every team moving forward to have a more transparent and fair process. Why couldn't Pete just say that? Like, I am on that board that makes these decisions. And trust me, I'm going in there with a laundry list of proposed changes, not for Notre Dame, but for every team. So we have a more transparent and fair process. I am on that board and I'm going in there and I'm saying what needs to happen. And I will die over this hill of these changes and they could kick me off the board, whatever. Something about that part of it would have been nice. I would have appreciated that because Pete is on that board. John, this is chess, not checkers. You have to have patience. I want to believe that. I really want to believe that. And I understand it could have been an immature reaction for me to go on here and yell and be mad at Pete for not giving me what I wanted to feel better about this. I hope he's playing chess and not checkers. I sincerely want to be able to Pete as low T. I genuinely want to come back in here and go, looks like he was playing 4D chess and we're out of the ACC and we got these moves and the playoffs changing and Pete's a part of it. I want that. I want that. But yesterday, I think they missed the mark on where this all was and the messaging. I'm not backing off that. I'm not backing off that. You talk big about permanent damage and you come in there and it's just calm as could be. We're disappointed. We're kind of sad. Ooh. It was not the posture I thought this should have been. So number one is, I would like to say Pete to say I'm on that board and I'm fighting to the death over getting some of these changes, not just for Notre Dame, but for everyone. Number two, this is where it gets hard. The ACC thing is a problem. I'm done with them. Let that conference that is dying die without you. I'm done with them. I don't want to play them. I don't want to talk about them. I don't want their refs. It doesn't help. It fills games for Notre Dame, but it doesn't really help you to beat up on Syracuse and Pittsburgh. And just, I'm over the ACC thing. We need to distance from it. They're not a good faith partner. They don't value what you bring. That's been readily apparent. Get the hell out of there. I'm done with, you're dead to me. I don't want to see this stupid half-ass ACC schedule. They don't respect this partnership. They don't value you. It's amazing. They hit the iceberg. They're sinking and they're against the lifeboat that is Notre Dame. It's amazing. Let them die on their own. It is a dying conference. The arrow on that conference is going straight down for football. Why do you need to be a part of it? That's easy to say, but it's hard to do. That's easy to say, but hard to do. Other sports could probably easily find a home somewhere, whatever. We wouldn't want Notre Dame basketball, Notre Dame women basketball, whatever, okay? How do you handle a football schedule? It's very easy to say, oh, ditch the ACC. For what? The easy answer here is join a conference, right? Then everybody wins. That's the other thing. Like, if you went ahead and were like, okay, I guess we're joining the Big Ten, everybody else wins. And that is going to sit with all of us till we're dead. The fact that all of this crap happened and you kind of got bullied and knocked out of the playoff by the politics of the conferences and it forces your hand, then they win. So, like, outside of that angle, which does solve a lot of these problems, What do? Do you do Pat Cotter's thing where you make a partial schedule with a few different conferences, rotate who you play 3 here, 3 there, 3 from the SEC, 3 from the Big Ten, move it around, keep your Navy, whatever. Like, it's really easy to say, just dump the ACC and go do your own thing. That's really easy to say, but you need to have a plan of what you do next. You need to have a plan of what you do next. Okay. And so that's it's easy to say, screw the ACC. What are you going to do next? You got to have a plan for this. But I'm telling you what this cannot end up being, you guys. This cannot end up being a lot of strong words for the manager at Walmart. And then it all dies down over the winter. Nothing changes. And we just hope next year things go better. That's not an option here. That is not. It is not on the outcome of results that this is hot now, and then the games will start for the playoff, and this will fade away a little bit. And then we go into the dead of winter in the offseason, and then we just do the same thing, and we just hope that, like, things work out. Like, there's got to be direction here and leadership from Notre Dame. The status quo isn't good enough. This cannot be a bunch of words, but at the end, nothing really changes and we just go do what we were doing. That's not an option. It's not an option. You better figure something out. Figure it out. As for the national media, so that's the ACC and the scheduling thing. As for the national media, Notre Dame needs to take a new posture. They are not your friend. You have learned that in this. None of these media outlets are your friend. And Notre Dame needs to change their posture and how they navigate the media. It's no longer, ESPN asked one of our players to go on the TV show. I can't wait. We're so lucky to be gifted a time slot. Talk about Notre Dame on ESPN. They only use you when it's beneficial for them. Notre Dame needs to change their media posture. And I don't know what that looks like. Because you can't go radio silent like any media is good media. We want Jeremiah Love on ESPN or something. I don't know how you do it, but you need to understand these are not good faith actors. And that the first chance they get to turn on Notre Dame, they're going to do it. And you need to change your posture with how you navigate this whole ecosystem. None of these people have Notre Dame's best interest or a neutral interest in mind. Notre Dame needs to understand that. I think there's a little bit of naive. There's some people are naive to the level of this stuff. I am still amazed at the amount of Notre Dame people that watch College Game Day on a Saturday morning and then bitch about it. You guys are dumb. I cannot understand it, but it's just, I don't understand it. This is not Game Day from the early 2000s where they shot it straight. There's too much money and politics involved now. Quit watching the show and giving the people that hate Notre Dame the ammunition. It was Notre Dame's playing really good. I think they deserve to be in the playoff. Once the bullet points went out, all those people changed their tune and they all had their marching orders, and it was the pro-Miami, pro-Alabama, anti-Notre Dame thing. Wake up. Wake up. So quit watching that show and rewarding people that are against you with views. Stop. What do you have against Brady Quinn? You can't watch him on Fox at 9 a.m? Why do you got to give the entity that has contracts that work against you views? Make that make sense. Because that's what I did for 20 years growing up is a bad answer. Grow up. The landscape has changed. Grow up. This is not Game Day from 2002. So let's sum this up. I have 4 things here that I can narrow this down to that Notre Dame needs to work on. Number 1, you need to have a PR plan. You're losing that battle. Nothing you're going to do is going to overcome all the national media and all the conferences pulling against you. But Notre Dame's got to do something to try and regain control of some of the PR narrative. And you didn't do any of that yesterday. You need to have a PR plan. Number 2, you better secure Marcus Freeman. That is another downside to missing the playoff is it makes going after Freeman so much easier for these NFL teams. And I got news for you guys. Get used to this. Get used to this. This is all the big colleges are going to go after it. Florida, LSU, Penn State, they all reached out to Freeman and his people. The NFL wants Freeman. Get used to it. That is how this is going to be. And now the narrative from all the media, national and independent, the narrative now is Notre Dame is down. How do we put them out? We push the narrative of Freeman to the NFL as hard as we can, hoping he does it, and Notre Dame's absolutely screwed. Understand that's what's going on. Bobo, you're in here saying y'all need to calm down. Are you aware of what show you just logged into? I've seen your name around a long time. You should know what you're going to get here. Shouldn't be a surprise. So the Marcus thing, and you got to understand, the angle here is to burn down Notre Dame. Notre Dame is down, and if you lose Freeman, then it's like the ultimate win for all these people that want the Notre Dame thing to crumble. So that is one area of this I'm pretty sure Notre Dame's on top of understanding how you need to retain Marcus and all that stuff. So they're not going to like cheap out on money and lose that. Like, that's not a thing. I'm just saying, understand, for those that want to bring Notre Dame down, that's the next thing is going, Marcus, why do you want to deal with getting screwed by the committee? Why do you want to deal with these 17-year-old millionaire recruits that are all fickle and everything? Go to the NFL. That's the narrative, man. That's the narrative. And number 4, you got to figure out what changes you can make to that CFP or whatever adjustments. I know there was that thing that came out of like, moving forward, if Notre Dame's ranked 12, they're guaranteed in the field. Well, not this year. And the cynical part of me wants to say, Notre Dame, if they're ranked 12 or higher, they're guaranteed to be in, right? Well, then they're going to be ranked 13th next time. So whatever. Oh, it's going to go to 16. Well, Notre Dame will be ranked 17th. Like that's the funny part of it. Oh, if they're guaranteed in the top 12, they'll be in. Well, then that's how you end up 13 and not 12 instead of 11 and not 10, right? So yeah, it's just like, whatever, man. If that makes you feel better, go for it. But wherever the bar is, dodging BYU is hilarious, says SoCal Buckeye. Yeah, the funny thing about that is it just shows you the difference between where these two programs are. Notre Dame's at a level where it's national title or bust. It would be the highlight of every BYU fan's life to beat a Notre Dame team with all of its good players not playing to go into the NFL in a meaningless bowl game. That alone tells you the differences between these programs. It would be the best day of any BYU person's life to beat a Notre Dame team without its good players in a bowl game that doesn't matter. We are looking at title or bust. We are not the same. Go churn some butter. Couple chats, and then we'll go to you guys. $10 hour, rotate. If head-to-head matters so much, why is there a Bama-Oklahoma rematch? They already played, right? We already know who's better, right? Bama couldn't ever get back. Alabama is the sacred SEC cow, and they are living off what Nick Saban built. My main man, $10 hour. Love you, buddy. $10 hour, Ryan. So excited to wait the gestation period of a child to watch the next Notre Dame game. It's going to be a long, embarrassing offseason. Thanks for your show, John. Glad you're upright. I ain't going anywhere. $5 holler. Ryan. My wife has grown to tolerate you, but she wasn't amused when I turned off the holiday classic songs for Always Irish while we decorated the tree. Have a holly jolly son of a put that garland on the tree. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, son of a buck. Here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus. And it just cuts to me yelling with my angelic pipes. Oh my God, I needed that. Oh, thank you so much. I needed that. The John Christmas album's coming up. $10 alert from Brian. Let's become the heel and run with it. We need to embrace it, get loud, say we're coming for you. Brian, that is tomorrow's episode on YouTube. Stay tuned. You literally nailed the exact theme of tomorrow's show. Stay tuned. Catfish, $2 alert. Trolls can eat a huge bag of candy canes. Let's keep it festive. Oh my God. Welcome in, Pat.
Hey, Johnny.
Was that John or Mariah Carey? I needed that little laugh.
Is it John?
I genuinely needed the laugh, man.
Your own Christmas special would be terrifying to play. It would get some laughs in the Cotter household, but I don't know if it's gonna make it anywhere else.
Okay, Pat.
Can I push back on a narrative real quick?
Yeah.
Before we get into the Bavacqua presser.
Yeah.
Here's my thing, and I don't blame anyone for being mad at ESPN. I totally get it. I really do. But I do think we're missing something here. Do you think that ESPN wanted Miami over Notre Dame? If all we ever say is, and I'm not going to get into the SEC Alabama argument because obviously they did. They have a contractual obligation with the SEC, so that makes sense. But when and even though they have a contract with
that's what I was going to
ACC,
say. That's what I was going to say.
They don't push they pay the ACC $37 million a year per team. Yeah. That's what ACC teams make in their ESPN agreement.
Yeah.
So when you put those two resumes, I mean, even Bavacqua said it yesterday in the conference. When Notre Dame's at an ACC game, they sell at 90% of the games. When Notre Dame is not there, they sell at 37% of the games. When Notre Dame is there, the ratings jump massively. When they're not, they're down. ESPN knows this too. And so my thing is that I don't think ESPN did Notre Dame a service at all. I don't think so. But ESPN's got the ACC deal locked up to like 2037. That is a stepchild to them.
Yeah.
I don't think they care. When we're talking about ESPN, it's always about dollars. It's always about dollars. And I think ESPN was pissed that Notre Dame was out. I think they wanted Notre Dame because it's a better matchup for the playoff. I mean, do you really think, and I know there was no control over this, but do you think they're happy that Tulane and JMU are in there and not Notre Dame? That's my thing. Now, but still, there's warranted issue with ESPN, but it's not the organization as a whole. It's individuals. I mean, Nick Saban ripped that committee for what they did. Ripped it. Herb Street was always on the fence. Joey Galloway was the biggest defender of Notre Dame throughout. He said it Tuesday night. I watched his podcast with Herb Street. He said it Tuesday night after they flipped Alabama and Notre Dame. He said, I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know how you can make that decision. And I don't know how you can have Notre Dame in that position ahead of Miami this whole time and then flip them. All right. So I'm not saying that ESPN doesn't deserve blame, but it's individuals. The broadcast team from the Stanford game deserve blame. Those guys were on a mission to make Notre Dame look bad.
But here's my point. My point is,
it's not the organization as a whole.
I don't think those things are individual choices. I do believe there are angles that are given to these guys of what to talk about.
I don't think so because Booger McFarland Booger McFarland. Well, maybe you're right because Booger McFarland was a defender of Notre Dame.
And then what?
And when Notre Dame pulled out of the bowl game, when Notre Dame opted out of the bowl game, that's when he went scorched earth. That kind of leads to the narrative thing of, all right, ESPN's now missing out on Notre Dame being in the bowl game. let's go burn it down. I have no doubt that there are a number of people who at ESPN who got a message that said, go after Notre Dame for opting out of the bowl game. I have no doubt about that. And then you have guys like Stephen A. Smith and Feinbaum and all those, Wilbon, all those guys are going to be haters of Notre Dame. It doesn't, ESPN doesn't need to give them instruction on what to say. They're just going to do it anyways. So I get it. I understand the hate, but ESPN is losing a lot of money by Notre Dame not being in here. And even Pat McAfee brought up a good point that and I usually don't watch a show, but I've been just catching a lot of clips. And McAfee said that the president of ESPN, his kid goes to Notre Dame. His kid goes to Notre Dame. There's not a overwhelming Notre Dame hate at ESPN. There are individuals who hate Notre Dame. If you want to give it to ESPN, that's fine. But ESPN is losing money. So just this isn't what they wanted. They wanted Notre Dame in there. And so I just wanted to push back on that a little bit. I don't, if people want to continue to hate ESPN, I personally don't like ESPN. I thought it lost its mantra of being a sports organization a long time ago and it became a political organization. But I think we're missing the point when we blame ESPN. We need to be blaming the CFP as a whole. Yeah. And that's what we need to be attacking, the CFP. And that leads me into Pavakwa's press conference. And you hit on this a little bit.
Was I too emotional in my media reaction of frustration yesterday? What do you make?
I mean, you saw my text message. I had more F words in that text message I sent to you than I've said in probably 2 years. He was winning the PR war. In the immediate 24 hours after the decision was made, Notre Dame took a big hit when they announced the bowl game. But when he did Dan Patrick, and then he did Barstool, and Portnoy's an idiot, whatever. I mean, I don't hate Portnoy, but he gets wild takes.
He's a troll.
He's a troll. He's a troll.
He knows.
Like, I don't dislike the guy. He's just like Pat McAfee. I think Pat McAfee's a little bit better at it than Portnoy is, but it's fine. But Bavakwa was winning the message by going on these podcasts. He was winning the message. The only thing, everyone stopped talking about the bowl game and they started talking about the ACC. They absolutely started talking about the ACC and what this meant, what this was going to mean for college football. That became the message, and it changed in 24 hours because of a couple interviews he did. And he could have continued that and not done the press conference, or in the press conference, he just all he needed to say was, because he said it. He said permanent damage. It wasn't a, we're talking about this. So no, he specifically stated the ACC committed permanent damage to its biggest business partner in football. That's huge. That's huge. That is a huge statement. And it carries so much weight to it.
That's a choice. Permanent damage is a,
he didn't say that. It wasn't a mistake.
Choice.
Yeah, it wasn't a mistake because then he repeated it throughout the day. And I was watching the Echoes podcast with Golick before the press conference, and he said it again. So now he's had 15, 16 hours since he originally said it. He said it again, and he said on that Echoes podcast that there were going to be repercussions for it. These are his words.
Okay, so then 2 hours later,
he goes out there and he says nothing about it.
Pat, is this 4D chess? He wanted to let the media ask a couple questions, but played it real top of the like real.
I think what you said, John. He missed the room. He knew he was gaining traction, and he thought he could just continue with what he was saying. But that's not what people. He could have just kept doing interviews, and it would have been fine. He could have interviewed it out, and people would have asked him questions, and he would have given them answers. It would have been fine. But when you call a press conference, and this is my public relations degree from Eastern Illinois knows this shit. When you call a press conference, people are expecting you to say something. He didn't say anything, nothing at all. He didn't say anything that was already said. He made no statement of anything. And the only thing he did was created uncertainty around the position of his head coach. That's all he did. And you got to be kidding me. So the entire narrative flipped. He was winning the PR war within the first 24 hours. He pushed it all on the ACC where it belonged, because it's the ACC's fault at the end of the day that Miami wasn't in that goddamn game. It's the ACC's fault. So he flipped the entire narrative to put the blame solely on the ACC and the playoff committee where it belonged, and made Notre Dame look like the bunch of whiny bitches they all wanted us to be. And now everybody, as you said it, is coming after us with knives out because they have us in a corner, and they can, and there's nothing we can do now because he missed the moment. This is the problem. He missed the moment. You don't do that press conference if you're not ready to frickin' say something. And he wasn't. He wasn't ready to say something. And he doesn't have to say a lot. All he's got to say is, yes, I said there was permanent damage done. As a result of that comment, we are reevaluating our relationship. He can say that, and it can mean bullshit. It doesn't have to mean anything. It could be a lie. But he said something, and it keeps the focus on the ACC. Then, as you said, all he's got to do about the committee is say, I'm a part of this room. This university is going to be the leader in college football. It always has been and always should have been. And we're going to take our recommendations to this to fix this so nobody ever goes through this bullshit again. And then his third and final point should have been Marcus Freeman is the football coach of this team, and Notre Dame will do whatever it takes to keep him here for as long as he wants to be here. And anyone else has a question about his status needs to ask him. Now, he didn't say any of that shit. He didn't do any of that. And now he needs Marcus Freeman, who should never been a part of this conversation, to come in and bail his ass out. Marcus Freeman has to get in front of the media and answer for why his team is looking like cowards and not wanting to play in a bowl game. He has to answer why everyone's saying he's going to the NFL, and he has to answer for what he's going to do next over the next 3 months. Notre Dame failed. It's bullshit. This is not what we're supposed to be. And the thing that pisses me off the most is West Palm Pat was right. That was a joke.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Pat, I think there's a couple paths here, and I'm not sure I see a middle ground. One is Notre Dame really is mad about this, and there are things moving behind the scenes we're not going to see and hear about until they occur and they're official. And there really are moves being made, and Notre Dame realizes what this is in the big picture and how big of a deal it is. And they're moving heaven and earth behind the scenes to change the dynamics, or they don't get it, and they're just going to keep it moving, and this fades away in the offseason, and then you just hope it turns out different later. Like, I don't know. I need to believe Notre Dame behind the scenes that it was all just like play nice with the media for a few minutes, and like, or they don't get it and they think this is just going to fade away. Nothing changes. You just hope next year it goes different.
I don't think they realize that nobody likes them.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you do or what you say. I came to a realization a long time ago when I was younger that nobody likes me. And it's easier for me to go through life knowing that nobody likes me, because then when people say shit to me, I don't care. So when whoever is trolling me in the chat right now, it doesn't bother me because I know you don't like me.
You mean as a Notre Dame fan or just as a person?
Just as a person in general. Very few people like me. And I can get on with that.
Yeah.
I can get on with that. I do not live my life trying to get people to like me.
Yeah.
And when Notre Dame embraces that mentality, they are going to do better. They are going to do better.
Yeah.
Because they didn't embrace that mentality. Instead, they embraced the mentality that thought, we can keep talking because everyone likes what we're saying. And so therefore, everyone's going to be nice to us. No, that's not what this is. That's not what's going to happen. You gave them an in. You were winning. You changed the conversation to the ACC and the CFP. And now everybody is on you because you didn't say anything. You can't call everyone into a room and not say anything. I'm sorry. That's just what it is.
Yeah. So
It just
Pat,
was.
where does
And,
this?
and
where
I want
does
to
this go
clarify.
from-
I hope people realize I don't think Marcus Freeman is leaving this program. I don't think he has built something that
But
is
it's allowing this narrative
right.
on top
That's what
on the
it
back
allows
of
the
everything
narrative.
else. Yeah, you're
It
allowing
allows
this
the
all to
narrative.
fester. Yeah.
I don't think Notre Dame is at risk. But the problem is Marcus Freeman has done something no coach I've ever seen at Notre Dame do. He made people like Notre Dame.
Yep.
You just killed all that goodwill from last year that he
Yep.
did. He made people like Notre Dame and you blew it. And now you have to sully his reputation and what he's done to get people to back the F off you.
Yeah.
And that's wrong. The right approach for this from the beginning was to have Bavakwa be the face of this. Just like when Swabrick was the face of the Teo stuff. It wasn't supposed to be Teo. It wasn't supposed to be Brian Kelly. It was supposed to be the AD. And that's the right approach. But if you're going to you have to do it the right way. And you're not doing it the right way when you go up there and you say nothing to back up what you've said previously. You can't just repeat yourself over and over again. You're going to call a press conference. You have to say something new. And this is probably what they had going through their head. They were thinking, we got to give something to all our local media guys.
Yeah.
Who cares about them?
You could have done that and furthered your bullet points as well. You could have done two things at once. Gordian not saying, Pat, you're wrong. Don't just say he's wrong. Tell us what part he's wrong about.
Right.
Don't. I have no problem with me and him
if you're
being
going
wrong.
to tell me that people like me, you're wrong.
About.
Yeah.
Explain what he's wrong about in the chat. So Pat, where do you go from here? Because this is
you need Marcus Freeman
territory of the knives out from every angle. Where do you go from here in the short term if you're Notre Dame? Number one is make sure you secure Marcus. Let's just throw that. That's number one, is making sure you have that wrapped up.
Yeah.
And I do think it's being hyped by everybody that wants Notre Dame to go down even more.
So I don't know. I've heard some rumors.
What do you do?
I've heard some rumors. I'm sure you've heard some rumors that there is actually an agreement being worked on to increase his pay. I don't think it's necessarily extending years, but to increase his pay to make him closer to what the top tier of the market is. I've heard those rumors. I don't know where that is. I mean, if you think about it, it was around this time last year, maybe a little bit later. It was like right before the bowl game or before the Indiana game that his extension was announced last year. So like they're probably working on that. I would assume. I think the only thing he did say correctly in that press conference is Marcus Freeman's contract is not just a piece of paper. It's a living, breathing document. It's reevaluated every season, and that needs to continue. It needs to continue to be reevaluated every season. You can't have a guy pulling the greatest recruiting class this program has ever seen, have the best 4-year stretch of success this program has ever seen, minus a national championship, and then just say, okay, he's extended for 3 more years. We're not going to talk to him for 2. No, it's got to be every year. And I'm only going to worry about one other team in college football, and that's Ohio State. But you never know what a guy is thinking when it comes to the NFL.
Okay, Gordian not has responded. He said a lot without being upfront about what's going on in the background. The PC stuff was just ripples on the surface.
It was. See, yes, it was. It was ripples on the surface. But he already said all of that stuff. Yeah. He already said all of that stuff. He said it on Dan Patrick. He said it on Barstool. He did a couple different podcasts after that. He said it already. When you call a press conference, you need something else. People already heard. Nobody came there to hear him repeat himself. They came there to learn something else, and they didn't. Nobody learned it. Nobody learned anything new. Notre Dame, he didn't lead. This is the problem. We're talking about leadership right now. Leadership, and no leadership was shown in that moment. All we did was look like crybabies. That's all he did. He whined.
I am very open to this. If you end up that there's big shakeups with Notre Dame and their scheduling, or Notre Dame and the format, and Notre Dame's responsible or whatever, I am more than happy to do another episode saying good job by Pete, acting like this was water under the bridge, but behind the scenes, his people were working. I want to have that episode. But
Yeah.
I was with you of you need to understand when you set things up with permanent damage and go scorched earth, then call a presser. You need to understand
You
what
have
your
to
the
say something.
expectations that
Yes.
you're setting up, and you got to give some red meat to the people at that point. That was my part of this
Right. And he didn't do it. Like he misunderstands it, and or maybe I misunderstand the Notre Dame audience or the Notre Dame fan base, but I think they misunderstand the Notre Dame fan base that everybody is their multimillionaire donors, and they're those guys. I could believe they're not necessarily out for blood with everything, but the people who really support this program, they are. They're really angry. I don't have my $40 million IRA account to go and look at. I don't have that.
Yeah.
I don't have I have like one,
Cindy,
two
I'm
things
going to
that
push
big joy in
back
my
on
life.
this. I'm going
Yeah.
to push back on this. Cindy says the AD owes us nothing. The AD has a responsibility to protect that brand in every room and every instance. They don't owe me personally anything.
No.
He has to understand the knives are out in every direction, and he is the representation of this brand. He there's a lot on the line here. So like it's not me personally. He can't let the brand get stabbed to death every day. Like, you got to come up with something here.
Yeah. That's the problem. We weren't getting stabbed to death until that press conference. Like, people noticed that. I was paying very close attention. I don't have social media, so I know Twitter is probably a disaster, and it's going to be because it's just individuals. But I was reading articles. I was reading what was on ESPN. I was reading what was on through Yahoo. I was Sports Illustrated. I was reading what was coming from everything. And Notre Dame was getting killed Sunday night because of Notre Dame because of the bowl opt-out. Yeah. They're getting killed Sunday night. After Dan Patrick, it shifted. Everything shifted. A bunch of articles came out about the ACC. I mean, there were articles saying the ACC is dead. There were people going live after his Dan Patrick on YouTube. I was getting alerts from YouTube. I don't even know how I was getting these alerts. Notre Dame is going to kill the ACC. Like, people were reacting to that so fast. And I saw one guy who was a Notre Dame hater said that Notre Dame is going to save college football with changes that are going to happen because of the playoff. Like, and the guy had shows on there I looked into. He had shows that hated Notre Dame, where he celebrated Notre Dame getting left out. But they were celebrating Notre Dame because a change was going to happen, because that's what everyone wanted to see, a change. And within 24 hours of that, it was all gone. It was all gone, and we're crybabies again. Paul Feinbaum is spinning on his bald head. Stephen A. Smith is ranting and raving about God knows what. The most uneducated person in sports media I've ever come across. Doesn't have a clue about anything, and comments like he does. He's unbelievable.
So I don't know, man. This is it's a shit.
So you asked me what's next. You have two choices, Notre Dame. You either shut the F up and just let the playoff come out, and it'll die down just like anything else does.
Yeah.
And let Freeman's contract thing come out and let that be that. Or you got to put Freeman out there. And I don't like that. I don't like the fact that you put yourselves in that situation. I really don't.
Yeah. It is. Now is the time for strong Notre Dame leadership. Like I just hope, Pat, they understand the full scope of the dynamic right now and where this is at with Notre Dame. And like, I needed to feel yesterday that Pete fully got the scope of what's going on. And maybe he does, but he was doing the stoic, calm thing. But behind the scenes,
I think he does. I think he knows, he understands what's going on. I think he does. And I think there are behind the scenes things. I don't have any insight into the behind the scenes at Notre Dame, but I hear rumors about things like contracts. I have no idea. I haven't heard anything about what they're planning to do, but I believe they do, because he did say something else in the Echoes podcast. And I think he said it in a presser as well. There are people much more important than he is at Notre Dame who are upset with the ACC. So I don't know if that's the president of the university. I don't know if that's the provost. I don't know if that's board members. if it's a collection of all of them, those are the people who move things. And so if they're telling him they got a problem with it, that means he has to do something about it. So I do think there's something is going to happen. I don't know what it's going to be. One last thing I want to push back on, and then I'll jump out. But we've seen a lot of press conferences where coaches are being asked to react to what Notre Dame has done so far since this happened. And like Mario Cristobal, to his credit, Pat Dillingham, to his credit, they're like, no, we're not even. That's their situation. It's not our situation. I'm not in that situation. I wouldn't comment on it because I don't know how I would handle it. So they're biting their tongue. The commissioner of the Big 12 must be the dumbest SOB on the planet. He went in hard on Notre Dame. He said Notre Dame owes ACC their COVID season. And if it wasn't for the ACC, Notre Dame wouldn't have played football. Okay. Revisionist history. ESPN did a whole segment in 2020 during COVID that said, thank you, Notre Dame, for saving college football, because Notre Dame went to the ACC, said we'll become a full-fledged member in the ACC to make sure you guys play football, which brought the SEC back in, which made the Big Ten and the Pac-12 reverse course and say they weren't going to have a season to actually have a season. And that's why the ESPN did that segment. Notre Dame saved college football, not just the ACC, but college football that year. The ACC was being sued by its biggest brands because they wanted to leave the conference. Notre Dame signed a scheduling agreement with those brands, and those lawsuits went away because they get better exposure playing Notre Dame. And that is outside of the ACC agreement. It works in the scheduling agreement that they have, but that contract with those teams is outside of the ACC agreement. Again, saved the ACC. That Notre Dame helped negotiate bringing in Stanford and SMU and Cal into the ACC, which got more media dollars for the ACC. And Notre Dame pays money to the ACC every year. So I saw a report up to $2.5 million per ACC game, home or away. Notre Dame pays to the ACC for the agreement they have allowing the Olympic sports to be in the ACC and football not. So that comes to about $12 to $13 million a year. Notre Dame pays the ACC for the privilege of playing their shitty conference games. No one in their right mind has the right to say Notre Dame owes anything to the ACC. The ACC needs to die, and I hope Notre Dame does it.
Yeah, it's man, it's going to be batten down the hatches, because no matter what, this is going to be a long, rough, brutal offseason, and there's no damn way around it. It's going to be rough, and we just need to navigate it. Pat, thanks a lot for joining, man.
Yeah, talk to you later, bud. Have a good show.
Appreciate it. Go fix your wall or something.
It's almost done. It's the last sheet of drywall.
I am still laughing at when you were like, nobody likes me. And I'm like, do you mean as a Notre Dame fan? No, just as a person.
No, as a person, nobody likes me. But it's so much easier to go through life when you can admit to that.
Rudy wrote in the chat, like, it took me a while, but he grew on me. Like, it only took 20 years later, she decided you're okay. Have a good one, Pat. Later. Stay warm. It's going to get cold this weekend. $50 holler. Pat, I think they're profiting. Thanks, crying. I think they're profiting off the drama and the storyline of ND off the playoff, which they facilitated. They created the drama for views and are profiting off the outrage. They're milking every ND from every angle other than having him in the playoff. $5 holler. K-Way, for real? Are you for real? We can't ignore that Dan Patrick said regarding the call he received about Notre Dame being set up. That should be the topic of discussion from our AD and media. It's very, very interesting. Dan Patrick, kind of out of the mainstream media, has his own little studio doing his own thing, saying he was hearing weeks before the final playoff reveal that he heard Notre Dame's a conference pawn in all this that can be positioned and maneuvered to end in a favorable way to do these conferences, whatever they need to do with Notre Dame, wherever they move that chess piece to allow them to do what they ultimately wanted to do. You can believe Dan Patrick or not. That's his reporting. $5 holler. Crandat. The people complaining loudly about ND shouldn't be in the playoffs or complaining loudly, but not seeing a third and fourth string players at the Pop-Tart Bowl. Yeah, it's, man, you can't make this stuff up. $10 WPP. Mr. Cotter's correct on all points. The chat should listen to him. You want to know how I know things are messed up in Notre Dame land? WPP and Pat are on the same page. $10 holler. No lawsuit possible now. Can't sue the ACC because ND had no damages, as our AD yesterday stated on TV that both Miami and Alabama deserve to be in the playoffs. If so, where are the damages? We were not wrong. That's that Notre Dame brain WPP has, baby. That's that Notre Dame brain. All right, you guys. I am going to, see us love Notre Dame, our mother. I'm telling you guys, we are all we got. We are all we got. Not the trolls, but you, Notre Dame, we are all we got. We are knee deep in the shit here. And it's us versus everyone. Stick together, be together. And that is all we have is us. Understand that. Understand it. Reformed Faith, Catholic, what's going on? Good morning, buddy. If you're on hold, you're going to be on the air. I'm going to try and move through them, you guys. I know everybody has thoughts. What's going on? Good morning.
What's going on, dude? How you doing?
I've been better.
Me too. I deleted all the social media. I can't take it anymore. It's getting too much noise, too much stress.
Yeah, it is unrelenting. I've never seen anything like it. And listen, when you choose to be an outlier and you choose independence and you want to do things differently and you don't want to be a part of the group and do what everybody else is doing, you sign up for some of this. But this is at a level I've never seen. It's unrelenting. It's from every angle. And I just hope Notre Dame has answers for what's going on.
Me too. I got something I've just been thinking about for the last couple of years is what you being more on the inside track than just a common layman like me, but what are the what is the thing that keeps us independent? What is the thing we can't let go of? Is it money? Is it just autonomy? What are the things that are keeping us independent? Because I feel sorry, go ahead.
Doesn't a part of it feel like each time Notre Dame goes through a cycle with a new AD, there's a feeling to me that the new AD doesn't want to be the AD that ends us being independent, which is our full history and tradition of making it. And I just get the feeling that with each new regime, the new AD is just hoping that it doesn't end up with a bunch of stuff where he's got to be the one to make the decision.
Yeah.
I genuinely feel that way. That I just don't think any of these ADs want to be the one that have to pull that plug and make that decision for the sake of all of our tradition and history. I genuinely think it is that way. I think the money's the money. Notre Dame would be fine. I just don't think anybody wants to be the one to give that up.
Yeah, I agree. I just think just if you were to ask a common fan, would you rather play our schedule this year or would you rather see
a Big Ten schedule? Yeah, a Big Ten schedule would be 100% more engaging and interesting than what we're doing in the ACC. But what do you have to give up to get it? That's the question. What are you willing to give up to get that? No one could argue a Notre Dame Big Ten schedule wouldn't be way more entertaining than playing Syracuse,
Yeah, I mean, it gets exhausting watching all this, your podcast or the Independent or whatever you want to say. It gets exhausting just watching people debate if we'll win by 30 or 40 each week. And it's just, it gets old. And at this point, it's at what point, I mean, I'm sure, I remember Freeman over the summer said on that, in an interview that they might be forced to if they're at a competitive disadvantage. And I could be wrong, but are we not at a competitive disadvantage right now, being that Miami barely got in with their ACC schedule and we only played half the ACC, and then we don't even get a chance to go compete for it and get in automatically. And I really do feel after this year, there is going to be, especially with Sark's comments at Texas, we're just going to stop scheduling out of conference games. Like there's going to be a shift in these next 3 to 4 years where teams are just like, why would we put them on the schedule? And if they do, it's just going to be, oh, it's a tune-up game because we can just automatically get in if we win our conference. Am I crazy? Is that not like inevitable at this point?
I've asked this question as well for the people that just want to ditch the 5-game ACC agreement and then just schedule independently and try and fill out a schedule. My question is, do you run into a scenario where it's like Texas saying, we got screwed by playing Ohio State. We're going to play Central Michigan next time, and then we're in the playoff. Do
what
you
I'm
run
saying
into
is
that risk?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we're already at that risk with the ACC deal. And then if we were to be just truly independent, it'd get even harder. But I even think with the ACC deal, we're in that boat. I mean, like I know I'm from Pittsburgh. The guy is a lunatic, but like Narduzzi has a point. It's like why would we play this game with like sincerity? I get that like Marcus is a competitor. Like you have to have a competitive mindset as a coach, but like at some point these schools are just going to be like, why would we put them on the schedule? And I think from a competitive standpoint, look, I'm not trying, like, I know independence is like Notre Dame's core tradition in its history. I understand that, but it is 2025 and we're not, like you said earlier, like we can't let everyone else win just to join a conference. If we join a conference, everyone else wins. And I'm kind of like, we're already losing and everyone else is already in the playoff and we're not. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it's man, it's just no one wants to bite the bullet and give up that independence, man. Like I understand what you're saying. It's just, do you want to give up what you've always been and let everybody else win? Like
the thing is, if you were to go into a conference and win it, no one else is winning but us. We could have won the Big Ten this year. We could have done it. Like we had the team to do that. And like you can say everyone else wins if we join a conference, but if you go and win the conference, you win the conference and you're the one winning. That's what I don't, it's not like, it's not whether, but which. Like you have to go and compete. And if you win, you're the biggest winner. And you just made everyone look silly because they wanted you to join a conference for all this time. And then we finally do. And guess what? We win it. Just kind of like we almost did with the ACC in 2020.
It would be a matter of, you would be able to do that. But a lot of people, especially older, would feel like it's empty because you didn't do it your way. And it's not the Notre Dame brand at that point. And like, I understand times change, but a lot of older people would, especially I know, feel like it's empty and it's hollow because you didn't do it your way and you caved. You caved. And that, I'm telling you, each AD that filters through here, I just feel like they are hoping that decision doesn't come up to them because no one wants to be the one to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I just feel like if you were to go and win the Big Ten, no one would be upset. There would not be a single old person that would be like, we should have done it the independent way. Like, no, like if we,
I think there would be. It
really?
doesn't have to do it. It wouldn't be with the game results. The concept overall, would be enough. I'm telling you. And I believe this is largely generational. I do. I think the older the Notre Dame fan, the more diehard independent they would lean. That's just my intuition.
Okay.
That's my intuition, is that the older you are, the more you value that independence. I've seen a lot of younger people that are like, get with the modern times, whatever. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's generational.
Yeah, maybe. It's like, as a 27-year-old, it's like, I've never seen a national championship and I've been cursed with this fandom from birth and I wouldn't trade it for the world, but it's like watching NC State, Boise State, it gets so boring. It's like the fact that we even have a talking point is all we have to do is just win the next 10 games. It'll be easy. It's like I watched on Saturday from 9 a.m. every Saturday. And I watch it all. I'm not just watching Notre Dame. And it's like, it would be a lot of fun. I see how those SEC people people are just they're almost like have that Nazi way about them where it's live or die, like everything revolves around their team all year round. And it does for us too, but like there's a heightened sense of like this is life or death with the SEC.
That's Southern
And
football, baby. Yeah, that's Southern football, and that's why I respect it, because it is life and death to them.
I think the main reason is because every week is life or death. It's like I'm not saying that the conference is like at a higher level of football at this point, but all the games, it's a much more balanced conference than the Big Ten. And like Alabama had to play, what was it, four straight ranked opponents, and they were all in conference. And it's just like, would you rather like wake up and play Syracuse, Boston College? I forget what the exact 4 games were that we had to finish with, or would you rather finish and watch your team play Auburn, LSU, Oklahoma? Like that sounds a lot
But
more
those are
fun as a
different
fan.
things. Those are different things. I would answer yes. I'd rather play the schedule you just mentioned, but that's on the field. That's not my only concern. I'm also looking big picture. Competitively on the field, the Notre Dame Big Ten or SEC schedule would be way more engaging and awesome. But that isn't the only consideration. It is.
Yeah, this is a fan's worry. This isn't. I don't know. That's why I asked to start. Like, what are the things behind the scenes that I might be missing? It's like I just want to see some good football.
You're going to lose your identity, man. You're going to lose your identity and be like everybody else. Like that, it just literally one sentence. You're going to lose your identity and be like everyone else. And all that history you did is over. And that is hard. That is hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Michigan left their independence and they won a national championship before we did. So it's just like, I'm more in the business of winning than being who we are just because that's what we did back in the 20s. You know, I'm probably making a lot of your older listeners like cringe right now.
Yeah,
but
you are. Yeah, you are. But I understand what your point about the schedule, but there's a lot more involved than just that schedule when you're thinking about this. And it's going to be really tough. Anything else, man? Thanks for jumping on.
No, I mean, like one thing I was thinking is like, you have like college basketball does that like ACC Big Ten Challenge or SEC Big Ten Challenge each year at the beginning. I wonder if there, with all these schools moving conference games, if there could be like a deal in place where the SEC and the Big Ten agree to like a September and November window where you have to play one of each other's schools and we get thrown into that somehow. Like there's got like if we're gonna we're in right.
Dude, you're cut now, man. I had to cut it. Sorry, dude. You're frozen. I can't understand you, and you're frozen. Mike, what's going on? I'm trying to get a couple people in that have never been on before. Mike, good morning.
Hey, John. How are you, buddy?
Okay, I've been better.
Yeah, this is convoluted mess, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm having a little trouble hearing you. Can you talk closer or do something different?
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me now?
It's a little better.
Okay, cool. Hey, listen, I respect Pat and love what he said and his energy and everything. But I want to push back on a couple things. I think we were all in the same boat with Pete yesterday and our expectations of what we thought he was going to come out and say. I'm unpacking everything right now, and what I mean by that is just let this thing die.
All right, I'm getting. Mike, I'm really sorry, man, but you walked out into the tornado from the Wizard of Oz. I couldn't understand a single word you were saying. Off to a rough start. Jake, welcome. What's going on?
Not much. How are you?
I'm doing good. And I'm sorry to you guys that if I cut a couple of you off early, I got to be able to see or hear you, or at least one or the other. And I just couldn't either of the last two. Jake, welcome in. Good morning.
Thank you. You too. So I have a couple of comments here, but first, I think there's a difference between an AD and a commissioner. And Notre Dame has a weird confluence where they need to be both. I think Swarbrick was a commissioner and did a hell of a job at navigating the big landscape, getting the seat at the table as if Notre Dame was their own conference, doing these things. Wasn't necessarily the greatest AD, because AD to me is they're just getting money, handshaking, getting money, getting that thing. And Bavacqua is amazing at that. I mean, he is the number one proponent for Notre Dame to win a national championship. The amount of money they've got come in the last couple of years, I think that's there. Those two are not aligned now, and he's trying to do stuff that you need to be a conference commissioner and acting like an AD. And that's just a problem that's sort of navigating here. The second part, I think he wanted to do something yesterday during the press conference and realized quickly that he didn't have the goods. I heard Matt Fortuna talk about this, and he wrote it in his Substack that this was supposed to be fireworks. Everything that like or hate Fortuna and Sampson. I know they're polarizing to some, but I believe they're locked in, have insight. And what they were saying is they expected there to be some fireworks yesterday. And he didn't have the bag. He didn't have any goods.
The deal is the only reason anybody expected fireworks is because Pete set it up that way.
I'm 100% with you. I was so excited. Yep.
I took some heat for my emotional reaction in the video I did yesterday, but I was thinking about it last night. Was I wrong? Did I go overboard? He is the one that stirred all this up with all of this permanent damage. And then you call a presser. You set it up. I didn't set it up.
I was right there. I was right there with you, man.
I set it up.
The passion's
set
great.
It up that way.
I know, man. I know. I was just as frustrated. I sat there, listened to that live, and just went, "What in the hell was that?" It was worse than the Dan Patrick interview. Nothing happened. Nothing. It was a blah. But I think
you say permanent damage, and I'm the one out of my mind for thinking you're going to say something of substance.
I right there with you, man. Like I said, I think everyone sat there, read the tea leaves, goes, no one does that and doesn't have the goods. Like who's going to be that foolish to speak like that and not have the power to come up there and go, you know what? We're leaving the ACC. They stink. Showed the same points that he had, 90% sellout rate versus 20, like everything there, and go, you know what? Our value is diminished. I heard also, I don't know, Sampson somewhere was like, Notre Dame's viewership has gone down since joining the ACC. And part of it is the football brand, but Notre Dame's been dominating the ACC. What's the record? It's unbelievable. It's the highest win percentage without being a full member even in the ACC. It's unbelievable. But it's a crappy brand to be tied with. It hurts Notre Dame. Notre Dame's viewership, I mean, if you look at it, it's like those games draw 1 million, 2 million people. It's all Notre Dame fans. No casual is going to watch Notre Dame play NC State. Who gives a shit? So I think he went there and tried to negotiate in the background to have the same type of deal with the Big Ten and have a 5-game schedule with the Big Ten because it makes sense. NBC ties to Big Ten now. It makes the perfect sense. And Notre Dame could go, hey, we're going to keep our NBC contract through 2030, keep that there. Everything from Fox, CBS for road games, you guys keep that money or just give us the same amount of money that the ACC gives us, $20 million. They can get a hell of a lot more money. But Notre Dame, I think we're realizing Swarbrick did an amazing job of selling this. They have a lot more. Notre Dame does not have the power anymore. It's just a fact. When
I want to be very clear about this. Ditching the ACC agreement would be a huge, huge deal. And you can't do it until you know what you're doing next, because you cannot end up in no man's land tough talking and then not have a home for all those other sports and everything else. Okay.
Yeah, and saying
I didn't need him to say that was final 2 days after the announcement you didn't make the playoff. I didn't expect that divorce to be public yesterday,
no,
but I at least expected some stern threats of like, we're not happy and we're exploring our options. Like, I'm not so delusional that I thought you could totally dump a conference and in 24 hours have a new home. Like, I understand there's a big process there, but I just needed a little juice, man. I needed some threats at least.
yeah, I'm right there with you. I think he thought that he had the cards, and he realized when he starts talking to the other conference commissioners, they're not going to allow this half foot in, half foot out. Like, and why would they? To be honest, I mean, put yourselves in their shoes.
Oh, that's fair.
And the idea of Notre Dame going, oh, we're going to have all the other sports in the Big East or whatever, and then you can, I mean, how difficult it's going to be to schedule.
Some money's better than no money. When you ask, like, who would be open to like a half agreement where you're not really in the conference for football, but you are for the other teams, like, I guess you could argue getting some money from Notre Dame would be better, and having their brand to some extent would be financially better than not having it at all. Maybe that's an argument.
Yes, in theory, but if the other conferences are conspiring and talking to each other and saying, hey, they're saying you guys are in on this, like, you need to have two parties here to agree, because that's the only way you can play it. I mean, if you're sitting there and you're going, hey, Big Ten, we want to do this, they say no, we're going to go full, the only thing you can say is, well, yeah, the SEC is going to allow us to. If the SEC is not, like, you don't have the cards. It's so hard to negotiate this way.
Yeah.
Like, what can you say? So
Yeah,
if one party is not biting.
Listen, there are some people, even in our extended media circuit, that like have this feeling of like each thing like this is another like pressure point pushing Notre Dame towards the Big Ten eventually. And the playoffs squeezing Notre Dame this way is another bullet point in that direction. Like, having problems with the partial ACC deal is a part of pushing Notre Dame in that direction.
Mhm.
Like there's people who think that. Kevin says, what's so wrong with joining the Big Ten? Think of the upside. It could be awesome. Giving up your entire history and tradition.
Yeah, so I agree. I mean,
it's such a unique thing. I would love a Notre Dame Big Ten schedule, but I would feel like a cuck loser until I dropped dead. Then we ended up having to cave and be like everyone else to make it work. That would be hard to live with. Even though week to week, I would love a Big Ten schedule, I wouldn't feel good about myself while doing it.
I mean, so 2 points there. I mean, one, I didn't go to Notre Dame, but I have plenty of family members that I grew up with it 30-some plus years now. I know the history. I know the Catholic roots. I know why they're so independent and why it's there. And that you're talking about, as you said, old people, the old whites. They're not going to give up that mantra of us against the world, because it's been us against the world for them since 1908 or whatever it is, when Fielding Yost said no, you're not allowed in. I mean, in the Western Conference before it was the Big Ten. I get it. I understand the history, but you're stuck here going, we're complaining about the ACC because that conference has not lived up to its end of the bargain. There's no good team. Like, every year there's one, maybe two good teams. So it was Clemson. Now it's like Miami up and down. There was at least Clemson where you had the dominant run. There's no other. It stinks. It's bad. And as the previous guy talked about, it's not really. I mean, it's fun to watch dominance, but it's not fun to watch dominance versus bad teams. Who cares when you're beating the snot out of Stanford or Stanford at 10:30 Eastern too?
You would care if you won a championship. Do you think you would look at that regular season and be like, "Oh, that was nothing. Who cares?" If you rode that all the way to a championship, you would value it.
I mean, then it is like, might as well go and join the American and do it, because you can't have these two early games, and that's the way the schedule is going to be. Is you have your hardest games are going to be the earliest in the year. And this is not the NFL where you have a preseason to know what your team is, to understand what's going on. You're rolling the ball out there and going, all right, we're going to play our two toughest games first 3 weeks of the year. And that can decimate because after that, your strength is, I mean, look at Notre Dame's strength of schedule this year. Up until I think week 6, they were top 10, and then it dropped all the way to 8. I mean, think about how crazy that is. And within 50% of the season, you're in the top 10, and then after that, it just tumbles down another 50 points. I mean, that's wild. That's how bad it is, though, and that's the difficulty. So, yes, you can do it. You can go undefeated or 11-1, but other than that, you're sitting there. I don't know what you can do here and sit here and go, we want both.
That's, dude, it is a really challenging spot with the modern times and the way things have changed and developed with the playoff and all of this stuff and all the money and the politics involved in the sport now. It's always been that way, but now it's on steroids. You're in a tough spot. That's why I started this show an hour and a half ago saying this is the time where Notre Dame leadership needs to be strong, smart, and calculated. I don't know what they can do, and I don't know what they will do, but I know what you can't do. Sit around and just figure, maybe not. We'll bitch about it, and then we'll get over it, and then maybe next year it'll go different. That is not on the table. That is not an option to just sit there and the news cycle goes, and we complain, and no tangible change happens, and then we just hope it doesn't screw us again. That's not on the table. I need strong, smart, calculated Notre Dame leadership navigating us through this trying time.
I fully agree. It's just you're sitting and we have to look and think about this. By the time the next TV media rights deals, which Big Ten, SEC are ending around the same time, the inevitable is going to be a Super League. So if Notre Dame wants to sit here and stay independent, you're not going to be able to do it once a Super League's there. So either, and then I guess you can say, hey, we never joined a conference because it's not a conference. But I mean, we're just playing semantics at that point. I mean, you're going to be going, hey, we're not in a conference because we're not with the Big Ten or whatever, or the SEC or whatever it is, but it's going to be just by name. I mean, you're not going to sit there and go, hey, the top 40 teams are joining and creating a basically a mini NFL model. And then we're going to, like, you're not going to sit there and go, hey, we're not joining that because our pride says no. It's not going to happen. So
it's the Shrubberer says, short-sighted, John. No one really cares about our independence except some Notre Dame fans. It's not what it used to be. I don't know.
I disagree.
I don't know. Listen,
disagree.
I would be willing to bet through my job and personal life that I probably know more Notre Dame fans, generally speaking, than most people do from all the people I've met over all these years or whatever. I do not run in circles where independence is not important. I have no idea who you guys are talking to, or if everybody's 20, or like it's a generational. I don't run in circles where where independence is not a big value. I don't. Maybe I'm just old.
No, it's the same. There is an age gap. There is a mindset there, but it's 100. And if you go back to who has the power and the money, as Bavacqua was talking about, it's not the guys that are 30, 40, 20. They're not the ones donating $50 million. They don't have buildings named after them.
That's a good point. But man, the only thing I could think about is that this is generational, man. But I don't know.
Yeah. It is.
That guy's saying I'm older than you and I'm an alum. I do not know these people. I just don't. Yep. The independence is baked into the pride of all the people that are in my circle. So maybe I'm out of touch and I should just die in my basement and let it be a young man's game and be like everyone else.
Yeah, I agree. But one other point
you agree that I should just die in my basement?
No. That you're right about how strong that feeling is. But one point about joining these conferences are so damn big that I think it should be done because it's going to inevitably happen, and we're just hurting. They're hurting themselves. They're cutting their nose off to spite their face, seeing the inevitable happen. That's my opinion. But you join the Big Ten, you could have a shit schedule next year. I mean, there's no guarantee. This conference is so damn big. Purdue's no better. I mean, we played Purdue this year. What's the difference?
Yeah,
Purdue, Michigan.
Schedule was laughable as well.
Yeah, last year I was just going to say Indiana's schedule last year. They played Ohio State and then they got smoked, and that was it. And everyone was saying this team stinks. The conferences are so big now that you cannot. It's nothing but a scheduling agreement, and this is why I think it's necessary because it's not about strength of schedule and everything. I mean, the Big Ten is 5 deep. maybe, and it's 3 really at the top, and then 2 below it, and then there's nothing but trash. Don't tell me about Maryland or Wisconsin or Minnesota or Nebraska. I mean, those teams stink. Purdue, Northwestern. I mean, you go down the line. If you flip flop North, other than the stadiums being bigger and probably selling out, there's the play on the field is not good. I don't want to talk about Notre Dame playing Maryland is better than Notre Dame playing NC State or Duke. It's the same. It's just in a colder climate. But
Yeah, it's I
but
you're
the,
gonna
but
have
the
to
but the
figure.
the credence is there. Like you're in a conference, so now it's cool. Now you're allowed, and there is something about strength in numbers though. About somebody and having that push about this and that. I mean, you made the previous comment about the SEC. That's the most unique. I live in Atlanta. The most unique thing about the SEC is teams that stink still cheer SEC. The Big Ten doesn't have that. Like if you're an Ohio State fan, you're not rooting for Michigan if they make the playoffs because it's the Big Ten conference.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just it's not the
I
same.
don't
But
know. I don't know how this goes. I don't know, but I'm going to revert to where I started the show. This requires strong, smart Notre Dame leadership to be able to figure out what you're going to do because the status quo is clearly not working for you and something needs to happen. So I need strong, smart leadership to be able to thread the needle and figure out what works competitively and financially for the university moving forward. But I believe Bavacqua has a strong inclination to maintain whatever level of independence you can while still accomplishing these goals. And it's going to be hard to do. Anything else, my friend?
no, I hope that they don't go and try to pull another form and just move over to the Big 12 because that's we're just switching at least the southeast footprint over to a flatland in the Western hemisphere. Like don't do that. Don't go and like, oh, we're gonna do 5 games scheduling with the Big 12. Like that's that's not a jump up.
Yeah, I don't know, but something's got to change. The status quo is not working for you. Thanks a lot, buddy. Have a good day.
You too. Thank
I just realized when I did my whole little scene, I broke the bottom of my desk. The desk is like caving. I accidentally kicked the bar underneath, and now the desk is like bowing because the bottom thing separated. You guys, I think I'm losing my mind. I genuinely think I'm losing my mind. And I also didn't know no one cares about independence. I'm learning that today too. I don't know where I'm at anymore. Gosh, this is tough. A couple more super chats, then we'll keep it moving. We'll keep it moving. Chris says, highly doubt that's what they're doing, John. They're making smart moves behind closed doors. Fine, but that doesn't mean you navigated that presser the right way yesterday. There were some bullet points I thought you needed to hit that you didn't hit. There was a tone I wanted you to hit that you didn't hit. So it's just maybe that's personal preference, but I wanted a little fire. I wanted to see a pissed off Pete who gave the impression things are going to change. I did not walk away from the presser feeling that. Maybe I'm not entitled to that. But for everyone in the country watching, it was a lot of complaining and no action. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't have all the answers. I just yell in my basement. Can this guy make a point without screaming? You must be a new troll here. This is what I do. And if you don't like it, get the F out of here. Never come back. I understand you might be new, but give me a break. What's up, Doc? Yeah, everybody's mad at me. Everybody's mad at me. Nobody likes the callers. I don't get to everybody fast enough.
Oh my God. I'm telling you, you kind of diffused my call from the beginning. Because let me say this. Number one, I'm too old to have my own show. Addressing one of your earlier remarks. Cotter, I'm sorry to tell you, I like you, although I like your wife better. The other thing is, I think I've got so much more scar tissue than you young guys do, that I don't come away with the same feeling of anger about the way Bavakwa did his press conference.
I could be overreacting, Doc. I'm in a bad spot right now. And I just want to know Notre Dame's doing something. And maybe they are, and it just didn't come off that way. But I just want to feel like change of some sort is in the works. And I just wanted to have that confidence when I left that presser. And I just didn't get that vibe. And I'm not in that place. And that's why I don't have that job and why I'm in my basement yelling. Maybe I don't have the temperament to play these things down the road, a big game of chess, be calm and do all that. That's just not how I operate, but that's personal opinion. I just need to feel like Pete understands what's going on, and there's something going on here because we got to change something.
Yeah, and the two things I took away from that, he only did that press conference because he had local media that needed to ask questions. The other thing that I think was very important about what he said was it's about these kids. And people are, and I don't watch all the media stuff that you guys watch. You guys have much more info than I do. But the captains took the pulse of the team. They knew they wouldn't have the same team if they went to a bowl game, and the bowl game was nothing. Granted, I thought maybe they should have waited a day, but they took the pulse of the team. The kids didn't want to play. Okay, you say everybody's against this. Here's the way I feel. Half of it, everybody's against us. Half of it's with us. We're a pretty powerful brand out there. We got a lot of people in our court. And when I've explained to people I've talked to about where my anger is, which is at the committee for this particular decision, the logic of it, that's where my anger is. I don't know what went on behind the scenes with the ACC lobbying or anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tuesday was too soon to come up with anything. I understand.
I agree. I totally agree. I am not so unrealistic that I thought in a day you could ditch the ACC and be all situated in a new dynamic. I understood that. I was just hoping for a little, we're not pleased, and that means that we're open to anything. And if the relationship with the ACC repairs, fine. And if we need to go do something else, we're not afraid to do it. That I was just even looking for that little nugget of like we're not happy and we're valuable and we'll take it elsewhere if we need to. I don't know. Is there anything I really would have been happy with yesterday? The only thing probably would have been Freeman's not going to the NFL. He's with us, and I wanted you to hear it from me now. That would have been maybe the only thing that would have made us feel better yesterday is that news. But I'm in a bad spot, Doc, and I run hot. So I could be off with how I reacted.
I understand. After I actually watched your video right after I watched the press conference. And then I watched your video again this morning. I totally understand your emotional reaction to it. I really do. And it's like I'm sitting here with more scar tissue, but I'm also sitting here with more trophies because I've been around a lot longer.
Yeah.
The whining, I don't know where the whining and crying has come from. I didn't get that from Pete. I did not get him whining or crying. So I think it's fans out there that are whining and crying. And maybe they are. Well, you know what? What are you whining and crying about? Be pissed off at what the committee did. That's it. You can't change that. Yeah, you can continue to be mad, but make your case with whoever comes knocking on your door, trying to give you crap. But that's it. Amen. Amen. We can't do a damn thing about it. I don't know what the issue is right now. I mean, I know that Pete and Notre Dame have this problem. Independents, the other teams, the other sports. They have to have a home to play. You're not in the conference of those other teams. You don't have anything, you know? Okay, amen. Now, I think I've got a couple of unique things I haven't heard yet.
What?
I don't.
What is that? What? Do you not hear that? What is that?
What? I can't see the chat.
I think I am dead and in another planet. What did the Notre Dame fight song not just play? Am I totally losing it? What just happened?
You know what? My phone went off. Oh my God. Yeah, I missed the call. I don't. Oh my God. Come back down, please, please.
Dude, you know what, Doc? You know what, Doc?
What?
I think I need a vacation, bro. I think I need a vacation, dude.
Let's meet someplace to play some golf. You can give me 20 strokes or whatever. Anyway, yeah. And now I look who it was from. Wouldn't you know it? It was a healthcare thing. They're probably telling me, get in here right away. They don't know I died on hold, do they?
I think I'm losing it, man. I think I'm cracking up, man.
All right. Let me get these two scenarios out of the way, and you can get on to somebody who knows what they're talking about. All right. Here's what I think. You go to 16 teams. You do away with the conference championship games, meaning a damn thing.
Yeah. So
what would have happened before the championship games? We'd have had 4 SC teams in there.
Yeah.
We'd have had 2 Big 10 teams in there. We'd have had 2 Big 12 teams in there. We'd have had 1 ACC team in there, Virginia. Okay, so that's like 9 teams. Now you take the best. I don't know how you get away from doing this Mickey Mouse other conference crap. I don't know. But anyway, so now you've got 9 teams. The next 7 best teams as the rankings are. That's one scenario. But during one Connor's call, here's what else I came up with. Of course, I don't know how many of your listeners even know about the Premier League in England. Real football, because they use their feet. But what if we had a setup like that, ranking-wise anyway? Say 24 teams. We go like for the FCS type playoff situation. You have 24 teams. You play into that. Say the 23 and 24 at the end of the year, they're on the cusp. If they drop out, you get 2 more teams in there to start the season. I don't know how it would work, but anyway, we got to find something to me that takes a lot of this politicking crap out of it. Because I think that's what happened. The AC, when Duke, and I was rooting for Duke, what an idiot. If Duke doesn't win, I think Virginia's in there and Miami is out. I
Yeah.
mean, that's my theory. The Alabama thing is a totally different thing, and I think that was bullshit too. So
Yeah, it's I'm left with the feeling of Notre Dame must do something. This cannot just be a bad news cycle that goes by and then we all just show up next year and hope it goes better. This is different, and I just need Notre Dame to take back some control to their own existence here. And I don't know what it looks like, but the status quo cannot be, and you learned a tough lesson. That's my only point. Whatever form that takes, I'm open to. But Notre Dame's got to seize more control of their own dynamic moving forward.
okay, I'll leave you with this. The two issues: opting out of the bowl game. Somebody comes to me and has given me crap about that. I'll just give them the middle finger. That's all I'll do, because that team had a right to decide what their fate would be. Amen. It wasn't an administration thing. So, and the other thing is, I'll wait a few days, maybe a couple of weeks, and hopefully we'll hear something from Pete about, and what can they do? That's the problem.
Yeah.
The Big Ten wasn't going to accept us unless we played football. And that was the whole thing of trying to maintain the independence. 10, 11 years ago, when I was at a game and talking to one of my classmates who lives in South Bend and was working within the university, he convinced me we should have been in the Big Ten, just money-wise.
Yeah.
And I don't know if our contract has taken care of that. But anyway, you didn't say anything about my sign. Of course, I don't know how it came up on your screen, but it was backwards when I looked at it here, of course.
Yeah.
But anyway, it took me back to that one of those about the third call I made to you when I complained to you that I was going to die on hold. But anyway, I appreciate you, John. I love you. I did think you overreacted, but I certainly understand it. I think Connor got a little hot today too. But like I said, I've got more scar tissue. Let me tell you about one of the scar tissue issues. Okay, this is back in the 70s. A little human interest here, John. You can have some of that. No radio, no TV for the game. I'm out in the backyard doing something. I turn on the scores from the local radio station. Here comes a Notre Dame score. Notre Dame 10, Michigan State 3. Oh, ho, ho. I'm lit. I'm high. 10 minutes later, we screwed up on that score. It was Michigan State 10, Notre Dame 3.
I thought that's where that was headed. Yeah.
No sharp objects after that around me. Anyway, John, keep it up. It was so interesting. You had 600 people in here on Monday. You started with 200 today, but I know it went over 400 at some point. So you're doing great. You're doing great.
Thank you.
Keep it up.
I appreciate the support, Doc. Have a good one. Man, it is that was funny though. I bet you it was the ear doctor that call. Tom, you're mad at everybody. Everybody's wrong. Everybody's putting you to sleep. Go ahead. Correct the record.
Okay. So I want to talk about the hate, the vitriol and the hate and the anti this, anti that. Well, all Peter Pavakwa did was give them more ammunition yesterday. We got nothing. It was a nothing burger, right? We got nothing from him. And then he gives all our haters. And what are they going to do? They're going to pile on. So they're all piling on. I've got 25 of the nastiest text messages from the haters. So when Peter Bavacqua goes and does, he not only does he have to protect the integrity and protect the players and the University of Notre Dame, he's got to protect the Subway alumni. He's not thinking about the big, and I know it's not his responsibility, but he should think before he speaks. That was ill-conceived, and whatever they're doing behind the scenes, and I know they're definitely doing something behind the scenes. So I think stoicism and silence is the way they have to go. Just go about your business. Give Marcus the extension and let him cook. Let him get ready. Let him get these players in. Bring the recruits in. Let him just keep rolling and just go back to the basics and shut everybody out. I can't get over how much they're influencers. Herb Street, McElroy, Booger, they're all of them. Go down, Reese Davis. I don't want to rehash it, John, because we all know what happened. We see it. And then, you got the people coming in here, jumping on us. Get a life. I've never been in somebody else's, another fan base's chat to go troll. They got something wrong.
Tom, what do you make of this? Let me ask you this. This is a fair point someone brought up of maybe a game Pete was playing and dropping you little nuggets and whatever in the presser. And I do think this is a fair point. When he said there's people a lot higher ranked at Notre Dame than me that are not happy with this right now.
I caught that.
He did make reference that there are people at higher positions here than I am that are unhappy. That was a nugget, but it's only going to matter if there are actions behind it. Otherwise, it's a bunch of rich people in Notre Dame complaining. That doesn't do anything for me.
No, me either.
So I appreciate knowing there's people higher up there that are upset by this, but if it doesn't come with any change, you accomplish nothing.
No, and so if I take a little bit of a turn, go off the path here, talking about TV, and I saw comments in the chat, forget NBC and ESPN, all this, Notre Dame, because the brand is, and all the people that came back out with you guys aren't relevant anymore. You haven't been relevant since the early 90s. And you hear it's the same lazy arguments, and it's just hate, but they don't see the substance behind this. If Notre Dame were to do something, they could actually do this if they put some thought. In 1950, Notre Dame had their own television network, the Dumont, and they televised every Notre Dame home game for 4 years until the NC2A came in, and they stopped them because they thought it was going to hurt attendance at college football games. I mean, now think about that. Go back 1950, really, and they had it. So if they had the cachet and the appeal to do that in 1950, you can bet your ass we could start our own television network right now. Think about that. When these guys, when you see Michigan, Ohio State, and USC not real cozy about the Big Ten's agreement with that private equity deal, if something breaks there, Notre Dame could start their own little fiefdom again if they wanted to.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask is the TV building your own network is one thing. The next thing is who are you going to play?
That's right.
You got to make sure you're in a position where you're going to be able to get a schedule we all like.
No, yeah, and it's like an algebra equation. What you do to one side, you got to do the other, correct? So that would be forethought. That's where Bavacqua has to come in and negotiate. Now, I know for a fact, guys say, well, we're just not going to schedule Notre Dame anymore. If Notre Dame had their own, just hypothetically, if they were in the process of setting up their own television network, whatever, say CBS, and all of a sudden, now they go down, they call Alabama, they call Georgia, they'll call Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan State, Purdue. get all the local old teams he used to play, throw Stanford and Cal in there, and I'll guarantee you every one of them would sign up a home and home. Every one of them, because of the money that would draw in off the Notre Dame television network. So I don't buy that argument that big schools in other conferences don't want to play Notre Dame. They still do, because look what they did. Like Pat Cotter said, when Notre Dame goes to the ACC school, they all sell out, and then when it's just an interconference game, they never sell out. So they've got to figure that out, right? I think stoicism and being silent right now out of the Notre Dame athletic department and the coaching staff, I think they need to pivot, get away from this negativity, and just focus on next year. We got to focus on getting these kids healthy, the KVAs of the world. God love them. I hope he gets that knee rehabbed properly, and everybody else that's banged up. And he's got to concentrate on the transfer portal. So do the pivot. Forget about all the noise, because what you said at the top of the show was totally correct. You didn't realize how many people hated Notre Dame. Well, now you know. And when there's a flashpoint, whether Notre Dame is doing well or not, they're going to come in. If they're doing poorly, they come in to kick sand in our face. And then when we're doing well, you didn't deserve it. Well, you played Penn State. They weren't too good. And Georgia, my God, that wasn't a true Georgia team. No matter what Notre Dame does, it's never going to be good enough for the haters. So that's when you circle the wagons, John, and you make sure that you're taking care of business. Get everything right in-house, and then come kickoff time, September 6th, 2026, Lambeau Field, you go up there and you destroy Wisconsin and send the message. But he's got to have those kids ready. He's got to have them ready to go, razor sharp, the talent in the right places. And you know what? When you look at the schedule, John, it's not that bad of a schedule. And then just get to November of next year undefeated, when we have to play Miami and USC. Now they do that next year. They're going in undefeated, and they take care of business in November against Miami and USC. How is a playoff committee going to turn Notre Dame down?
Yeah. It's man, this is it's going to be an uncomfortable little period here, man. This from now until this is going to be rough, Tom. And I gotta believe Notre Dame's leadership they understand this whole dynamic. Something needs to change, and and so I will trust they're doing stuff behind the scenes. But you can't never hear anything about any of these complaints again, and we just go into next year and we just hope it all works out. That's not an option to me.
Right.
You need some action.
Well, there definitely needs to be action. I totally agree with that. But insofar as joining a conference, everybody, join a conference. Okay, so Notre Dame joins a conference. Now what? You're still not going to be. Well, they finally joined a conference, and now even more hate will come on. You're not going to satisfy the haters, so they've got to.
Tom, here's the funny thing.
Yeah,
everyone is always saying, "Join a conference, join a conference, join a conference." The second you do, then it's going to be, look at how weak you are that you had to join a conference. You're never going to win it.
Yes.
The second you do it, it's going to be, see, you losers couldn't do it your way.
Yeah.
You had to come to us. You're never going to win. There's no winning.
No, there's
no winning.
There isn't. So that's why, truly, it's Notre Dame against the world. I circle the way. Look. Thank God you started this platform, because I respect everybody, all the regulars, the Patreon wall. I learn a lot every time. There's some real smart dudes, and they do some great things. There's great commentary, and it opens my mind up. Say, hey, you know what? T. Grizz or Andrew Gilmore or whomever, whoever made the comment, Lee Gallagher. These guys, that's a new perspective. I didn't think about that. And we're kind of helping each other out because God knows you go to Twitter. Oh, you know what kind of a cesspool that is. Forget about it. So I just think, thank God for you.
That was the end. Thank God for you, John. And then it all faded to black. Tom, I don't know what happened, but you're gone. You're gone off the screen. Right when you said, thank God for John, the screen went black. What is, are we setting the stage here for something, Tom? I didn't mean to dump you, Tom. You totally froze up, buddy. Oh, that's funny. Andrew Gilmore and my main man's coming up. Andrew, what's going on, bro?
Hey, what's up, John? Can you hear me okay? I'm calling from an office. Yeah.
You're crystal clear. I got a million problems. At least your audio isn't one of them.
Okay. Well, hey, I mean, it's tough times for Notre Dame right now. There's no doubt about it. I totally understand why emotions are running high. I'll try to be quick because I'm sure you got to roll through some callers at the 2-hour mark. But
yeah, man, I haven't really heard from you since all of this. So I would love to know what you make of the bowl, the snub, the bowl bow wow, how Notre Dame's handling it. I'd love your perspective.
Well, first, I'd like to start with the Bavacqua presser because I don't know. I didn't catch the Potter's call or the first part of the show, but I think I understand what the feeling is. I want to talk about Bavacqua and then I want to talk about the end result.
Sure. Go ahead.
So on Bavacqua, I'll just be real quick in saying this. My best friend in high school, unfortunately had cancer, and due to cancer, his make-a-wish was to go to Notre Dame. And so I was lucky enough because I was, his best friend to kind of be with him the whole time. And through that experience, and I get it, this was the early 2000s. I mean, I got to meet multiple head coaches at Notre Dame. I got to meet the athletic director, head of public relations, and I even got to meet Monk Malloy, who is the president of the school. And I only bring that up because even though that was 20 plus years ago, there's a Notre Dame way of doing stuff. And so whereas, us fans who, probably follow NFL and other entertainment where everybody, can kind of give you instant gratification on how people react. That's just not ever going to be Notre Dame's way of doing things, is to overreact on stuff. These are some of the most measured people. That's what Notre Dame is. And so if you really analyze, like, they're never going to be George Steinbrenner who's going to fly off the handle and have crazy quotes, or Mark Cuban or something like that. It's always going to be very, very measured. And so I think if you take it from that perspective, I mean, I think in a lot of ways what Bavacqua has done on the Dan Patrick show and then through that presser is like fairly unprecedented. And I think he gave us fans everything that we wanted to hear. I mean, number one, if you look at his presser, what did he talk about? He openly called out the ACC in a big way. And then even said that he hasn't even spoken to Jim Phillips, the commissioner of the ACC, since this all happened. I mean, how does that not satiate people's negative feelings toward the ACC? And talked about how disrespected the program felt by the. I mean, did he scream and yell about it? No, but I mean, he absolutely called out Jim Phillips in the ACC. Number two, what is like the biggest thing right now in college football in terms of building a roster? It's NIL money, and it's money to pay the players. When have we ever seen a Notre Dame AD come out and basically say that Notre Dame's going to spend more than whatever the allotted rev share is? I mean, that's, if you read between the lines, that's what Bavacqua said. He said that the 20 million or the 18 million that's supposed to be set aside is not enough. I mean, is he going to come out and say we're going to buy a championship? That's just not ever going to be Notre Dame's stance on things. But that's a huge positive situation, because you compare that to the op-ed that Jack Swarbrick wrote in the New York Times a few years ago, basically saying that pay for play is terrible. This is light years different than that. And then I would end on Marcus Freeman. I mean, he is the most, whether I like it or not, because I like Marcus Freeman. I don't have as high opinion of Marcus Freeman as a lot of the other fans in the chat, but we all, if you love Marcus Freeman, he said we're going to match whatever offer comes across Marcus Freeman's table. So it's not going to be about underpaying Marcus Freeman if he ever were to leave. So I think if you take it in that context, was he animated? No, he's measured just like how the Notre Dame way is. In fact, the only super animated person that has been in the Notre Dame atmosphere in terms of football. I mean, Lou Holtz could be animated. There's no doubt about it. But like he was also measured. But the only person who was never measured was Charlie Weiss, and we saw how bad that ended for Charlie Weiss. He wrote checks with his mouth that his butt couldn't cash, and so that's just not something that that Notre Dame would ever do. So I think if you really take a step back, analyze what Bavakwa said, he gave the fans everything they wanted. I just don't think he did it in as an animated fashion as what we were looking for. I say where I'm wrong. I don't understand what more he could have said.
Yeah, I guess you could argue it like there were some nuggets in there that kind of, some breadcrumbs about some of the stuff behind the scenes. That's true. I just think the space the Notre Dame community wanted a little fire, but I realized Notre Dame's athletic director cannot act the way I do in my basement. I totally get that. But
he could act that way, but he's not. And in fact, if you really analyze what he said, when he said permanent strained relationship, he clarified that this is not just coming from Pete Bavakwa. This is coming from the top. He literally said that. I mean, so this is serious stuff. It reminds me, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Casino, but there was a scene in the movie Casino where Robert De Niro's character is doing all this crazy stuff. And one of his colleagues comes to him and says, "Hey, listen, the head mafia boss said maybe you shouldn't do that." And when he says maybe, that means you better not do that or you're dead. So when Pete Bavakwa says that the higher ups, people way higher than him, are saying it's permanent damage, that's a shot across the bow. I mean, there's no coming back from that. So I just don't understand what people wanted. If you want out of the ACC contract, this is the biggest indicator that we are getting out of the ACC contract. Is it going to happen tomorrow? But no. But I guarantee they're negotiating behind the scenes. So what more do you want?
I guess maybe I had different expectations of what that presser was going to be. And maybe that's half the problem. But I like, or Andrew, what about like, I hear you, Notre Dame community. I know how mad and upset you are. I am the one that's going to make sure this doesn't happen to us again. And I got your back and I understand. And I'm like I'm working on it and I'm going to make sure, like, just a little juice. I think
but don't you think that
a little juice?
But don't you think that his discussion on the rev share and how underfunded the rev share is, that's him read between the lines. That's him saying we're not going, you know what I mean? He's going to do, Notre Dame's going to do what it takes to win a championship.
Now, where does this go?
Plus he dropped in the MOU, which I don't think it's worth the paper it's written on, but at least he's telling you that Notre Dame's in the table negotiating. And he dropped that he's personally negotiating with Sankey, basically saying that it's Notre Dame and the SEC commissioner who are basically determining what the next playoff format's going to be. So he basically, if you read between the lines, he's telling you that Notre Dame is as powerful as it's ever going to be, because he's not even talking to Tony Petitti from the Big Ten. He's talking to the real deal, the guy who's really running things, Greg Sankey. I mean, so I think what people want is George Steinbrenner to come out and call everybody a bunch of bums and that he's going to buy a championship, and it's just never going to happen with Notre Dame. So we got to temper our expectations on how they deliver messaging,
Okay, let's do a little pushback to some of this. First, just ND Gal, $50 holler. Thank you. We didn't start this battle, but we're going to finish it. Thank you very much, ND Gal. A couple more here, Andrew, for you. It's not a WPP, of course. It's not overreacting to defend yourself against a month-long media attack. It's not classy to come off as being weak. It's not honorable to get walked on. And I got news for you. That's never been the Notre Dame way. who is more naive, Bavacqua for getting played over the last month, or Mr. Gilmore for thinking Bavacqua was going to do anything about it?
Well, okay, let me answer this. So again, I was as pissed as anybody in this chat when that ranking show came out. In fact, I've been talking to close friends, my brother about it. It's just terrible. Okay, the way it all went down was not cool because the indicator was, that Notre Dame was probably going to make this field. We need to be adults about this, though. We need to step back and say, was the end result fair? Okay. And to me, I think that if we have to have a hard conversation and look ourselves in the mirror and say, I think the end result was fair.
But that does
Miami
not, that is, wait, that is different than the process to arrive there being fair. Those are two different things.
Well, let's
Does
talk
that
about
make
the process. Well, again, you know what? Again, this is coming from a person who 2 days ago I would have 100% agree with you and felt that the process really wasn't fair to Notre Dame. But I think when you really think back and analyze it, it came down two spots, came down to three teams. Okay. You had Alabama, Notre Dame, and Miami. When you look at the case between Alabama and Notre Dame, I think that we've got to be honest about this. Our argument the entire time the rankings came out was look to the metrics, look to the computers. We're more qualified to get into to Notre Dame because of our Sagarin ranking or game control, stuff like that. And I'll just be honest with you. If you compare Alabama and Notre Dame by the metrics, which we were using to live and die to make our case against Miami, Alabama had slightly better metrics. I mean, they won. They had a 4-week stretch where they won 4 games in a row against ranked teams. They have the best win. They went into Georgia, beat them, beat Vanderbilt, top 15 team. I mean, I'm just saying, like, if we're going to say, hey, it's the metrics that put us where we were earlier in the rankings, then we can't revert back to saying, hey, it's got to be more of an eye test between us and Alabama. We're making a metrics test. And then unfortunately between Miami and Notre Dame, Miami kept winning and kept getting better and better and better and kept closing in on us. And at the end of the day, it's just like, I don't know, John. I mean, do you really think that if the shoe was on the other foot and we were in Miami's spot, we would have been cool with being left out, even though we beat Miami head to head?
Oh, I definitely would have been. That was some of the uncomfortable part of the debate, because if the shoe was on the other foot, I would have been arguing, what's the point of playing games if they don't matter? Like, let's not lie to ourselves. We would have used the head-to-head argument as well. But it's just like, Andrew, what justification is there for BYU looking terrible and dropping after the conference loss, Alabama looking terrible but not even dropping a spot? They could have even stayed in the field and dropped. And historically, there's only one other team that didn't, and it was TCU in overtime. Like, is that not justification to ask what's going on here a little bit?
I think it's justification. Certainly, this is not a black and white issue. This is a figure skating competition at the end of the day. So
yeah.
But what I will say is there is precedent, and you look last year. If again, I was just as pissed at ESPN. Kirk Herbstreit, I've been really mad at him about his soliloquy during the SEC championship. I just thought it was inappropriate. But if you look, there is precedent. Last year, SMU got beat by a very average Clemson football team in the ACC championship. And although they did drop, they could have easily dropped SMU out of the field and put in their business partner from the SEC, the number one team from the SEC, Alabama. ESPN did not do that. Or excuse me, the college football rankings did not do that. They had SMU take that last spot, and Alabama went home. And I think you could have easily said that last year, from an eye test perspective, from a resume perspective, Alabama was a better team than SMU. But they stuck to their guns, and can you imagine last year what the ratings would have been if Alabama played at Penn State? It would have been the highest rated game in the on ESPN the whole time. It would have been a historic game. So I would just say that they have a precedent. They're not, if someone is firmly in the field, they're not going to knock them out of the field. And BYU, on the other hand, was not firmly in the field. They were
But
not doing it. They had to win to get in, and that was the situation there.
You could have dropped Alabama and not left them out of the field, though. That's my point.
Okay,
Them not
and I'll address
them
that
not
point.
moving at all is a big red flag to me.
I'll address that point. And I think that if there's anything to gripe, and it's maybe the one thing that Bavacqua didn't gripe about, and I think probably for good reason, because he can't disparage the ACC publicly, is that committee was not going to not have an ACC team in the
Yeah.
championship.
Yep.
Okay, and so the ACC. So if you're going to disparage the ACC about anything, it's about their ridiculous tiebreaker rules.
Correct.
And if you're going to attack Jim Phillips on anything, I would attack him on the idea that I think Jim Phillips was trying to do an inside straight and get two teams into the tournament. They could have easily. We saw during the pandemic season, in 2020. Emergency, conference meetings were called, rules were changed. We know that stuff can get changed on the fly. And so if the ACC wanted to fix that ACC championship, they could have called it, the Sunday before, the week before, and put Miami in. They didn't. So if we have any gripe, it's really that. It's that Jim Phillips did not wanted two teams in. He thought he had a really good chance with Virginia winning, and then the eye test against, or the head-to-head against Notre Dame, Miami, with Miami continuing to move up and BYU potentially losing. But I'll just say they were not going to have a tournament that did not have an ACC team in there. It just and that's the fact of life. And so I don't know what more we can say. So like we could say that, hey, everybody's anti Notre Dame. And to a certain extent, there's certainly, from a personality perspective, there's tons of people on Twitter that are anti Notre Dame. I really hate that guy from Outkick. Clay Travis is just a Southern homer. But I think when you really look at it, this was Bush Gore close 2000 presidential. This wasn't like Notre Dame was 100% in, deserved to be in, and we got a screw job. I think this was really, really, really close, and we need to kind of control our emotions here and say, hey, listen, we can turn this thing into a positive for 2026. Let's go out and raise the most NIL we've ever raised, fill in any holes, and go out and win the championship in 2026.
I really like that angle, and that's a part of my episode I'm releasing tomorrow, is some of what you're talking about moving forward. But I want to go back to when you were speaking about, like, I know, John, you want more emotion in from Bavacqua, but he gave you kind of what he needed to give you. So then my question would be, what changes then? Like, okay, I'll buy it. He dropped nuggets. The people above him are not happy. He's talking to other commissioners. What tangible changes is there going to be to where you feel like something's happening that'll make this not happen again? Like, where does it go?
Well, I think he told you the two most tangible and that will most affect us going forward. There's nothing we can do now about reversing the committee's course. There's nothing we can say that will make us feel better. But the two things that we can do to make us feel better going forward is, he told you we are going to spend more money on paying players. I'm not worried
about the money. You should have done that anyways.
Tangible.
Why do you have to miss the playoff to know it's a good idea to pay good players? People keep saying that.
Listen,
shouldn't you be doing it anyways?
Well, anyways,
Why is that a response to this? You should be doing it anyways.
No, I totally disagree, John. I mean, Ohio State was paying players big time, and then they lost for the third or fourth straight time against Michigan. And guess what? In 2024, they spent record NIL money, deficit spending to bring their team back.
What do you do? Okay, money. What do you do about the ACC? Do you just yell at them and then we go back and do the same thing next year? What happens with them? Anything? Well, that's why we just get mad, but nothing happens. What happens with that part of this?
Well, I think that's why he mentioned in the presser that this was permanent damage, from the top. Okay, so the idea is that they're going. And there's already rumors right now that Notre Dame is negotiating, and I think that even though when he dropped the Greg Sankey thing about, and it was more, he tried to tailor it more to how the playoff was being formatted, it's pretty clear that he's on the phone. He's talking to other conference commissioners right now, and so I guess that's a situation. You go out and you see what the temperature is to switch to get out of the ACC agreement, especially if you feel like you can't trust the ACC commissioner. So I think time's going to tell. I think that right now, making a drastic move like a week or two after what happened would be a bad move. I mean, anybody in business knows that you don't want to be negotiating when you don't have any leverage, and Notre Dame does not have leverage right now. But I think that he gave all indicators, and don't take my word for it. Go listen to the Fortuna and Pete Sampson podcasts. They are mad. They're mad. They were mad at the ACC way before this even happened. They're pissed about how the ACC is treating their own series with Stanford and Clemson. They don't want to count those as part of the five. They're pissed about. I don't know if you read or heard what Matt Fortuna said. The ACC was accidentally carbon copying them on emails that were against Notre Dame, and Notre Dame saw it. So things are in motion. It's just we live in like, I don't know. Part about being Catholic is there's delayed gratification, and I think we need to, as a fan base, sort of use that a bit and understand that Notre Dame was not born yesterday. These are savvy people, and when they come out and publicly say that the top of the administration believes this is permanent damage, they are definitely negotiating behind the scenes. I think one blow that they got, though, was that Brett Yormark came out publicly and said and bashed Bavakwa. So this is a big test for Bavakwa this offseason. He's got to navigate that. He's got to navigate, potentially leaving the ACC or getting something from the ACC out of all this nonsense. He's got to re-sign Freeman because every day that Freeman goes by not signing an extension, the NFL rumors are going to get bigger. And then he's got to raise NIL, and that's all you can do. And that may not be a satisfactory answer to you, John, but that's really all you can do at this point. But I would rest assured when the AD comes out and says that this messaging isn't even coming from me, it's coming from the top. They're negotiating with other conferences right now.
All right. I can't wait for the day where something changes and I could say, man, good job. Like, you guys had enough.
John, just to get back to what you're saying, I'm shocked that that you're not excited about more spending. I mean, you and I both know that Notre Dame boosters are not these like oil boosters who throw bad money after bad money. These are like real businessmen, and it can be really hard. It can be really hard to raise that kind of cash, and this is like the biggest opportunity since sliced bread for Notre Dame to do this. And
I get it.
And there's all indications that they are. Yeah,
I understand it. It's just the concept that you would have to like get shit on from every single person in America that has a thought on the sport to raise more money. It just hits me as you should have been reaching for that anyways. Like it shouldn't be.
Well, you'll feel good when
screwed. Now we pony up.
Well, you'll feel good if Notre Dame goes out and signs the best wide receiver in the portal and the best defensive end in the portal. I think that's tangible stuff, and that's all indications is what we're going to do. That's why he said what he said. We're not going to just abide by, the so-called rev share agreement that everybody did. He said you've read newspaper reports. People are spending way more. He all but said that we're going to spend way more. That's the best news I've heard from a Notre Dame AD in years. Yeah.
Yeah, it's man, this is just a lot, man. This is a lot. And Andrew, I didn't mean to yell at you, but how I run.
It's all good.
You ain't new around here. You know how I run hot, and this is just it's a little overwhelming. Andrew, thanks for jumping in, always being around on Patreon. I understand your points, and I hope they prove to be correct. And I definitely love doubling down on the money. I'm going to talk more about that in tomorrow's episode. I love all that. But I want some action here, man. These are tough times and decisions got to be made. Proper good leadership is needed.
You just don't want to make a bad decision. You just do not want to make a bad decision when emotions are running high. You want measured people, and that's why you hire a guy like Bavakwa, who ran a network, ran a PGA Tour. You would hope that he doesn't make business decisions based off of emotion. He makes the right decision, And I think all indicators are the ACC is going to be feeling some pain. May not be tomorrow, but pretty soon there. So,
Man, I hope so. That would be exciting. Andrew, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you.
thanks, man. See ya.
Have a good one, buddy. These are tough times. Gilmore misses the point. Can't control whether you would win the argument, but make the argument. Our candy ass AD was not comfortable making the argument. $10 hour. Mike, why can't NDE fans just accept the rankings are more akin to an election polling results? All that matters is election day results. ND was leading in the polls, but lost on election day. The reason I refuse to accept that is it's not an apples to apples comparison at all. Because in an election, in a ideal, fair election, it's a fair process without bias. This is not what this was. That's not apples to apples. This is putting your thumb on the scale because you have conference affiliations or whatever. This is rigging an election. Not like, hey, whoever the most... I'm going to have a stroke. Yeah, seriously, I'm going to lose it. Mad, welcome. What's going on? Good morning.
Good morning. How's it going?
It's
I know.
It's going. Thanks for joining, man. I think you're a first timer.
I am. So I hope I don't come across too nervous. I just really appreciate you because I'm a very stoic person. And so I vicariously lived through your breakdown, your mental breakdown. Because I can't, I want to do it. I just can't.
Let my blood pressure go crazy so yours doesn't have to. Yeah.
Thank you. You're good for my health.
And I am, that's how I naturally get things out. And that's just how I've always been. Hey, thank you for waiting. Thank you for joining. You're a first timer. I would love your opinion on any and all of this, man.
I've got one for you. I've got one for you that's unique. So I'm an 83 grad. And my perspective is probably different than a lot of your followers because I was born in Palestine and I grew up in Saudi Arabia. And the first time I ever came to America was when I landed at Notre Dame Airport in 1979. First I've ever seen, I thought America was Hollywood. And I ended up in South Bend, Indiana.
The Greater South Bend Regional Airport.
Exactly.
They didn't even fly you into Midway or O'Hare so you can see it.
They did. No, you're right. I flew into O'Hare and then they flew me into South Bend. And you know Notre Dame, right? We're sequestered, right? So it's not like other schools. I went to UVA grad school, Santa Clara Law School. They're very different. So that's all I knew America was Notre Dame, Indiana.
Yeah.
And the point I want to make was, you know, when we talk about Notre Dame being our alma mater, for me, it really was literal because I had to recreate my identity as an American. I wasn't an American. I was, you know, Middle Eastern. And then when I came to America, I had to become something new. And Notre Dame was my identity. That's who I was. This was America to me. Was being an American was being a Domer.
Yeah.
With Rockney and all the other history. That became what it meant to be who I was.
What a unique path.
Yeah.
And how
and a Muslim, by the way. I'm also a Muslim and the only Catholic school.
And then you end up in South Bend, Catholic, Indiana.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
What made you pick Notre Dame or want to do that with your life? And this is just a really interesting story.
Well, I did want to make a point about regarding today, but if you want to get into that, I'm
just kind of wondering what made, with all those things that are not the typical Notre Dame path, how you ended up arriving there.
It was important because when I was in Saudi Arabia, dreaming about coming to America, what I dreamt about was and this actually is relevant. What I loved about America was the fact that Americans were individuals, right? You had rights as an individual, not as a group. So when you're in the Middle East, it's, are you Shia? Are you Sunni? Are you this? Are you that? And I just wanted to be me. That was like core to my values. And so when I got all these brochures from all the different schools, and I could have gone to any school. I was looking at UCLA, even looking at Princeton, Harvard. I don't know if I could have gotten in there or not, maybe. But when it came down to it, it's like Notre Dame said, we're different, right? Our brochures aren't going to have these pretty girls doing stuff and bribing you with your eye candy. Notre Dame said, we got values and we're different. And they didn't say, I'll tell you something else. They didn't say we're better than everybody else. They didn't say that. They just said, Notre Dame says we're different than everybody else. We do things our way. You come here and you'll get values, your own values. And, Harvard could have said, well, you come here and you'll be with the best people. And UCLA says, well, we got the prettiest women. That's my impression. Whether it's real or not, that's what my impression was. Notre Dame came at me, said, no, we have values. We have core values. You come here and you're gonna develop as a human being. That's what appealed to me. So now segue to the conversation today. And we got these guys that are 20-year-olds telling us, screw that. We want a national championship. Screw being yourself. Screw being independent. Screw being Notre Dame. Just pay more money, buy a championship like Ohio State did last year, and they'll be happy. For me, that would be like the end of my identity. It's like, who am I? I'm just like everybody else. It's like, and this is the core point that I wanted to make was the reason people hate Notre Dame is they have a misguided, though understandable impression that we think we're better than everybody else. And to some extent, it is true because I've seen it. But that's not what Notre Dame is about. Notre Dame is not about we're better than everybody else. We're just ourselves. We're independent. We're different than everybody else. And you can be different, and we love you for being different. If there's another independent school that does better than Notre Dame, I'll be their supporter because they're emphasizing what's truly valuable, which is independence and being not part of the establishment. And the worst of the worst to me is the Herb Streets. The Herb Streets who may be a brilliant guy, but he just wants everybody to calm the heck down and just be normal and just accept it. Take what you got and just be happy with it. All right, so I've ranted. I've done a little Johnny for you, but go ahead.
Man, that's really, really interesting perspective, and you're coming at that a very unique way and an uncommon path to Notre Dame. So where does it leave us in the modern era, right? You have all that history, a very unique relationship with Notre Dame. Where do you think that leaves Notre Dame position now in the modern era of football and whatever, and trying to thread the needle of maintaining Notre Dame's values while also competing at the level it takes is a tough needle to thread. So where does that leave us in the modern world?
Perfect. So I had to struggle with this question too, because we got screwed. I was looking forward to making a big run. And so, the concept of winning the national championship was the be all end all in my life. And because when I went to Notre Dame, it was the year after Montana was there. So we just expected to win a national championship. And at that time, there's all this controversy about not going to a bowl game. We didn't by rule. We decided we're never going to go to a bowl game if we didn't win the national championship.
Yeah.
So that wasn't controversial back then. So I went this year after we got absolutely screwed from having one of the best teams to be having the opportunity to play for it being taken away from us. I had to reevaluate. And I'm starting to think more like some of these football coaches when they say, look, what it's about is do your best, is just kick ass. And next year, just take numbers and just kick everybody's ass, especially November 7th. Next year, November 7th, I know what I'm going to be doing. That's going to be a big game. And kick their ass. And by the end of the year, the be all end all is you did your best. You won every game. You won it by 20. And if the playoff committee comes back and says, you know what, we got to put in another, Georgia just barely missed it, but they deserve to go. So you get to stay at home. Screw it. My values are to do my best. So if that means I don't win a national championship, but I know I'm the best team, I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable in the modern era to say that I'm not going to buy a national championship. I'd rather sit at home than having been Ohio State that just bought a team. And then we're just the NFL. It's just who's got the more money, who's got the better players. not the grit, which is the only reason I watch Notre Dame versus NFL, is they've got grit. So that's what I'm watching. It's, you take that grit away from us and say, well, you're just the better team because you have more talent, because you paid more, then Notre Dame's just another team. So my answer to you is, where we go from here is you focus on doing your best, whatever the stupid rules are. We've got our own values.
Yeah, it is. And it is interesting, like it's legal to pay guys now. Notre Dame's a part of that, but they also try and make it to where it isn't just pay for play, but guys actually do stuff in the community with NIL, or do like make it real NIL where there's some value or something, with the community or volunteer work or whatever. I see a lot of it. It's a tough needle to thread with Notre Dame trying to be traditional, maintain those values while competing in a world that's really superficial now. Money talks. Like, it's just, we find ourselves in an interesting position.
Yeah, but let me ask you though, were you comfortable with what I said, that you could reevaluate your goal from being winning a national championship at all costs, which was my goal, to realizing that's not why you're watching the college football?
The key thing you said is at all costs. At some costs, I'm fine. At many costs, I'm okay. No, that's not the Notre Dame way. They're always going to want to thread the needle to maintain that value. You got to be able to read and write to play football here. You know what I mean? Like, there's still some of that that's always going to be in place. So not all costs, but it is. And the thing, I do struggle when you said, like, you got to do the best you can and it like, whatever. Just once in my life, man, I'm 41, too young to remember 88. All of my cognizant Notre Dame memories have been pretty much negative on the big stage. Just once, I want to be alive and say we're number one and nobody could doubt it. Just once. That's all I need to die happy in this basement. Like, and I want that validation. And maybe it's superficial, but I want it. I want it.
Yeah, it was something special. And that year was different than this year because they went undefeated. So, I mean, you've brought up that point yourself, is we have a little bit of a blame ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
That team didn't leave any doubt.
If you go 1-1 and not, you don't even have to win them both. If you go 1-1, we have a home game and none of this happens and you're flying high, and I'd be having a different show every day.
Yeah. And I know people are saying in the A&M game, there was that holding at the end, but we put ourselves there, and that was not, we didn't play well in those first two games. So yeah, there was that holding that wasn't.
What about the other 34 points you allowed in your building? It is more important than ever in the changing landscape. And it isn't just the changes, but the pace at which things are changing now is a lot to keep up with in the college game. Notre Dame needs very strong leadership with good messaging, good direction, and they need to figure out what they're going to do.
And I'll just say that what I said originally is exactly what you said, because there was the period there where I hated graduating from Notre Dame when we had to struggle through. I had a problem with BK from day one because of his attitude towards his players. But, at least, I did a compromise. At least he brought us back to where we were in the conversation. The period where we weren't even in the conversation was rough.
He inherited a very, very program in a dark spot, and he did a lot of work to build it up. Yeah.
He stayed way too long, though. That should have happened a long time earlier. Within 5 years, we should have known what the writing was on the wall. But anyway, that aside, what your point was well taken, in that you got to be competitive. You got to be competitive, but hold on to your values. And my whole point was stay independent. Do not get into a conference, because that'll suck your identity. You'll just be another team.
Yeah, it is. Man, I really appreciate you joining. What a a unique Notre Dame journey. That is wild, man. Like, your first concept of this America thing is South Bend, Indiana, school by the lake. Like, I love it.
And they sequestered me there. That I didn't have a car. That's like what is America like? Well, there's a big lake.
Oh, that's
and there's no women in America. They're in a school that's that I can't even reach.
You got to cross the road to find that. Yeah.
Right.
Dude,
not Hollywood, that's for sure.
So then what happened the first time you went to like Chicago or something? Were you like, oh, this is a little different?
It was. But the thing is, in the end, I preferred the smaller towns now
Yeah.
as I've gotten older. So yeah, I love Chicago to visit. I love the Cubs. The fact that they just would never win anything, but everybody in Chicago loved them anyway.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of Americana that I picked up on in the Midwest that I just cherish. I really
Yeah.
loved.
Man, what a unique story. Like, I'm really glad you called in, man. That was like one of the highlights of the day to me, because this is a totally unique Notre Dame journey, very atypical than what we usually are used to. I love it, man. Thank you for joining and sharing your story. Feel free
Thanks
to
for
join
having
again whenever you feel the urge. Join again, please.
You asked for it. I'll be back.
I appreciate it, man. That was really interesting. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, that was cool. My main man, Martinez. What's up, baby?
Hey, Johnny, are you there?
Yeah.
Dude, hold on, let me put you on speaker, man. Right now, you actually really did catch me on my lunch, man. First of all, I took the announcement, man. I talked
You
to
sound a little far away today. I don't know why.
yeah, buddy. Hold on. Johnny, can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, man. Like I took the announcement. It was coming out of church. Dr. John was telling me, and then he told me, "No, we're out." I was like, "No, we're not out." I'm like, "You're kidding me?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, we're out." Vea told me, "Yeah, we're out." Vea's on the chat too. We live in the same town. Um, and I was like, "Shit." And you know, John, like I told you, I'll take an ass whooping as quick as I'll give one. You know what I mean? I'm not the toughest, not the biggest, but you got to fight me, right? And that's how the Irish are, man. So I'll get to my points, bro. Just give me a minute, cause this one's actually been really tough for me. And that's not so much that. So I'm on the phone. I call Vea. Hey, Miami, head to head, get in, man. I'm a fighter, bro. You get in. You beat us. I can't tell you that I wasn't rooting for BYU because Kalani Tataki, I might show you, wrote me a letter to get off parole. So he's a friend of mine. The deputy AD's name is Fuivak Puna. Look these things up. He was my backup in high school. He's a personal good friend of mine. He grew up in the same neighborhood. So I wasn't rooting against BYU. I said I don't. My best friends are LDS, so I'm not gonna go ahead and do that whole Catholics Mormon insult shit. You know what I mean? I just the trolls I don't like. But anyways, so I'm like, all right, because if BYU would have won, then they're problem solved. Both teams are out. Both teams are out. Match them up in a bowl. Match them up in a bowl. Let them go do it again. Duke it out. And then I hear we opted out, man. And that was the dagger. That's what got me. I was talking to Val. I was talking to your dad. Hey, man, I already told my tongue homies, hey, if we get up in a bowl, I was already calling my buddy from the ticket office. Let's get to the bowl because I love the Irish. I love to watch them play, bro. I don't want to watch them play in the Pop-Tarts Bowl necessarily. You know what I mean? And right now, I got too many people around, so I'm not going to lose my shit. But I wanted to watch them play. I didn't want our last effing play to be one of our old alumni's quarterbacks, third string son from bitch ass liberal Palo Alto scoring on us while they're trying to hurt our Heisman Trophy win. Bro, I couldn't concept that, man. That's the reality. That's the reality, John. That's the reality that okay, you know how I feel about playing junior high teams. I've told you guys over and over. Have ugly women on your roster, have pretty women on your roster. Don't have underage women on your roster because you can get penalized. That's what those junior high teams are. How do you count? They say, oh, you had there is no ugly losses, right? There is no ugly losses. Win by 100, win by 1, you won. You lose by 100, lose by 1, you lost. There is no there isn't. At the end of the day, you didn't handle your business when it was in front of you. That's what Coach Freeman says. Handle your business when it's in front of you. The rest will take care of itself. No one talks about and then the thing is, oh well, the Alabama and the 13 and they lost in the title game. But it wasn't a regular game. It was your title game. Your title game. Kirby Smart said today, "Oh, you want us to really play a ninth SEC game? Okay, then why should it matter that Arkansas was the bottom barrel of the bottom barrel of the SEC, man? If you're complaining about a ninth game now, the Big Ten used to do it. The Pac-10 used to play all 9 teams. The only 2 power conferences, bro, during the Reggie Bush era that played all their teams. The only 2, bro. Look it up. You created the 13th game. The SEC created the 13th game. So all of your bro and this politicking shit, That's why when I go to the streets, because it's just easier in the streets. Handle your business, homie. Handle your business. Put your dukes up. Go in the cell. Handle your business with them. That's it. Cut it out, bro. That's it. And if you're gonna keep chirping, then everybody else is gonna take care of you, homie, and then you're done. But man, I just couldn't get over the fact that the final of this team, and granted there'll be other great Notre Dame teams coming in, man. But the last
What happened? I can't understand you. Bro, you're gone. I don't know what happened. You totally cut out and I couldn't hear you at all. I couldn't hear you, Renee. My bad. Luis, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, John? Right here, a little bit tangled at work right now. Give me a second, but what I want to say is, like, I feel Renee's pain, his anger and all that. But you know what? Miss me with all that, my boy. When I got out, I made a promise about one thing. That's to change my life, the way I think, the way I see things, the way I endure things, and love what I need to love each and every day. Because once it's taken away from you, it sucks. It sucks not to be with your loved ones, and it sucks not to do the things that you love the most. And one of the biggest things that we love the most is watch Notre Dame football. My whole insanity, even when I was locked up, I made sure I didn't have to do anything just to watch Notre Dame football. Give me a minute. All right, go for it. But the other thing is like right now, we're all talking about how we're upset and how we feel about this. But you know what? I like the fact that our people Walker went out there and said it how he said it. Some people may like it, some people may not. Maybe he said too much, maybe he said too less. But at least he said something. You know what I mean? Something's better than nothing. And I do believe there's going to be major changes. I do believe there's going to be this major conflict of interest that's going to be coming, repercussions from this action pretty soon. Yeah, I'm going right now. But Marcus Freeman is the best thing that has happened to Notre Dame, and we're all aware of that. And you know what? How he feels right now, he feels jaded. We feel betrayed because you know what? But at the same time, we got to hold ourselves accountable because we put ourselves in this situation. And I told you that from day one. If we get in, we get in. It's just the misleading. It's when you're lied to for 5 weeks. If you would have started that from the get-go, my boy, it is what it is. We would have participated in the bowl game and all that. But I'm glad that we stood on business because we stand on business. We are Notre Dame. We are the Fighting Irish. We're not going to stay quiet. My boy, I like the fact that sometimes Renee lets his mouth loose. Shit. Shoot your shit, my boy, because I know I can't around here right now because, man, I got too many people around me right now. But other than that, I lose my shit too. You know what I mean? When I saw that on Sunday, I felt like a stagger in my heart. You know what I mean? And it gave me a realization of how short and how fast things can be taken away from me.
Yeah.
And it makes me...
Luis, I've been thinking about that too. How valuable every opportunity is and how everything could change on you in a second. And you got to seize every moment you get.
Absolutely, boss. And that's why, like, you know, I'm pretty sure that this is only going to cause Marcus Freeman to have more fuel in his life to come back harder, stronger. You know what I mean? And I feel that I'm going. Telling you, I got to work and still be on this. I mean, I've waited for 3 hours to talk to you because you know what? I love my Notre Dame football, and I love this show, and I love everybody that participates and lets vent how they feel about a lot of stuff. Right now, guys, we're going to be stronger. We're going to be better. I can't say what I really want to say because I'm at work and I got things to do, my boy. I got to cut this short. But life, don't take things for granted, my boys. And I'm pretty sure Notre Dame has making it very clear that we ain't taking nothing for granted no more. We're not going to let this happen to us. Not the second time. I promise you that. It ain't going to happen no more. And we're going to run this muck again, and we're going to run this back. And when we do run it back, we're taking no fucking prisoners, man. This is no balls from here on out. Notre Dame, stay on business. And you know what? I back up 110 people, Walker, and 150% to my coach Freeman and his Notre Dame staff. I love you, John. I gotta get going, my boy. Arre.
Have a good one, buddy. Love you. Take it easy. Be safe up there. Man, I'm always worried somebody going to get electrocuted when they talk. I'm worried that they're at work BSing with me and it's going to be like the Marv Home Alone 2. God, I mean, it worries me. I'm not kidding. Or somebody falls off a bridge, falls off the scaffold or something, gets ran over by a dump truck. Like, I'm worried about my people. I'm worried about my people, man. Be safe out there at work. Oh, geez. All right, you guys, I got to get going. And I have 20 people still wanting to get in. I can't do every one of these shows for 3.5, 4 hours a day. I just can't. I have other responsibilities with this stuff I got to get going to. But we did 3 hours. It isn't 3.5 like the other two, but it was 3 hours. That's pretty good run. And we'll be back Friday, and then I'll do a night show soon where some people that aren't available in the morning are able to jump in. I'll do a night show soon, and maybe we'll be able to get a different group of people in. I really appreciate all the Notre Dame people being here. I appreciate you guys not just dipping out and being mad and just saying screw it. I appreciate the fact that you're here. Notre Dame haters, enjoy. I would be doing I pounded on LSU when Kelly failed. Like, this is the way it goes. I have no problem with the trolls and the haters, like whatever. I just ask that you be creative. Just be creative. And that would be good. Commander says his calls are never taken. Dude, you were on last week or the other week. Also, bro, there are people, Commander, I want you to understand, dude. There are people that log on here like an hour before the show, like with their notes ready to go. When I have 20 people here and then somebody jumps in when it's convenient for them, and then they're like, put me on, bro. There's kind of like an order of people that were waiting, and I'm trying to be fair. There's never going to be a way to do this that makes everybody happy. There's never going to be a way to make everybody happy. I try my best. I really do try my best. Stay strong, Notre Dame people. Now is not the time to bail. Now is not the time to bail. Now we need the Notre Dame community and all this more than ever. Be with your people, support your people. We're in this forever. On the Bavacqua thing, if you liked the approach yesterday, God bless you. I'm not saying you're wrong. I run hot. I wanted a little more intensity, but if there are things going on behind the scenes, that's good enough for me. And when the results of that show, I want to give full credit to him and say, good job not letting your emotions get the best of you and playing it calm in there. But until I see what the changes are, I'm on edge. I love you guys. I'll have a really heated show for you tomorrow. I'll post that episode first thing in the morning, and it's going to be a hot one about where Notre Dame goes next. I love you guys. Thanks for being here.